Play ball.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Hugh Hewitt weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, followed by Mike Gallagher at 9. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Xumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Xumo.
This Mother's Day, treat the mom in your life to a day she'll never forget with brunch at the Trump International Hotel and Tower in beautiful downtown Chicago. Brunch reservations are available now for Sunday, May 12th, with seatings from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the Grand Ballroom. Experience an exquisite meal in a buffet style. Feast at the decadent carving, omelet, and dessert stations. Enjoy drink specials, live entertainment, complimentary champagne, and a beautiful rose garden backdrop for memorable photos. There's no better place to celebrate this Mother's Day than as guests of Trump Chicago, where you'll find the most iconic views of the Chicago skyline. Delight in this one-of-a-kind extravaganza. Make your reservations today by visiting eventbrite.com and search Mother's Day Brunch, Trump Chicago. That's Eventbrite, search Mother's Day Brunch, Trump Chicago, and order your tickets today. Cheers!
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost.
Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
Hi, this is Maria and Diane with the Del Bacchio Marchetti Group of App Properties Christie's International. We wanted to tell you why we placed number 9 in Illinois as the top producing real estate team and number 1 in Arlington Heights.
In the past 9 years, we assisted 1,975 buyers and sellers achieve the American dream of home ownership, selling $720 million in real estate.
If you are considering making a move, we can help you get the most value for your home in today's market.
Maria and I have over 50 years of combined experience. We take a conservative approach in protecting your asset and will give you the direction and professional advice needed to achieve a successful transaction.
Our pledge to you is to have your best interest at heart. So get the special attention you deserve with our white glove service from our city division to the suburbs.
Contact us for a free, no-obligation market analysis at thedmregroup.com. That's thedmregroup.com.
Information verification, MRED LLC, 2013 to 2022. Real Trends Large Teams 2022.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hello, my name is Jim. I'm a very outdoors, active type person. With Balance of Nature, it sure has helped me feel really good every day. The fruits and vegetable ingredients, I think, is the whole foundation of what makes the product so good for me. I'm looking at the future, and I do not want to stop doing what I'm enjoying. With the product, I know I'll be able to continue it. I feel great. I can't complain about anything.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So these UNC frat boys that are captivating the imagination of the nation. Well, we finally heard from one of them with some perspective on why they defended the American flag in the way they did against the campus Huns in Chapel Hill. So here's what one of them had to say about their moment that has turned into what promises to be quite a rager, as some observers have mentioned. It could turn out to be a national festival with the kind of money that's being raised on GoFundMe for these guys that stood against the model Hamas at Chapel Hill. I think last I saw, the GoFundMe is north of $400,000 for their rager to thank them for standing up for the flag, standing against the barbarians on campus, essentially providing some hope for those who are not part of America's future, for America's future, if you will. Take a listen.
I love America. I love that side of America. It's like we all just kind of connected our brains and stood there protecting one thing, and we all were like, we all were looking at every direction. If stuff was flying in, we would say heads up. We would cover each other. We would look out for other people. We would swap. We had like for an hour, and our hands did hurt. Our arms did hurt. It was like an arm day for me that day. It was no gym happened that day afterwards. It was exhausting. You know, I remember we were all standing in there, and I think I made a joke. I was like, oh, I don't know if it's a joke, but I was like, I'd die for this flag, and everybody was like, yeah. If they get any closer, we're gonna start throwing hands. Like we're not going anywhere. I don't care. They're gonna have to tear me off this flag like by my dead body, you know, stuff like that. And that was, you know, I'm smiling right now after such a insane day, but it's because it genuinely was hopeful. It was enjoyable to be in such an environment while doing what we think is right. People really took a lot of damage to protect that flag. And again, we were there for a really long time, you know, all things considered. But it makes me feel very scared for the future of this country. It's good to see people still willing to put their bodies on the line, their mind and soul on the line to protect this flag. But there are still patriots in this country that actually want to fight and would, you know, sacrifice themselves for this flag, this country. And it's been missing a lot of the time, especially during this last administration. Has just been non-existent pretty much. That's why the photo is getting so many clicks and getting seen everywhere on every news site, because people want to see that. People want to see people not bending. Don't bend a knee to these people. They want you gone. They want to take over. They want to just destroy like what this country stands for, bring their own twisted ideology into every orifice of this country. And don't let them do that. Don't let them do that. So take a stand. Be a man. Take a stand.
And the children of North Carolina shall lead us. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Now I am impressed. You know, I said yesterday it wasn't exactly Iwo Jima. Much is being made of what those young men at North Carolina did. And I guess that's how I was saying, the sort of how far the bar has been lowered. It's so low that something like that, just standing athwart a bunch of bedwetting, pro-Hamas nitwits throwing a temper tantrum is, I don't know, somehow courageous as opposed to just commonsensical, which I think it would have been considered in a different era. But with that explanation, that explanation is pretty impressive for a young dude like that guy. One of the party bros at North Carolina, if you will, paging JT and Chad over there on the other coast. Pretty impressive. And don't bend the knee. Take a stand. Be a man. Wow. Where do you hear that these days? Not in popular culture, that's for sure. Don't bend the knee, take a stand, be a man. Okay. All right, now you got me. Now I'm going to throw in a couple of shekels for the rager at North Carolina, or what may become a national rager before all is said and done as well. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Now on the other side of the coin, just down the road in D.C., Mr. 10%, the big guy, that would be President Biden. There's been enough political damage now inflicted by the left, on the left, sort of Black Lives Matter redux, that finally you have the president feeling compelled to say something, pro forma, anodyne, but say something so he can check the box that said, hey, I said something. You know where Joe Biden is on this issue. After all the silence against the speechifying of the base of his party in the halls of Congress, as well as on campuses, AOC praising the leadership of the model Hamas at Columbia, Ilhan Omar and with daughter in tow, praising the courage of these model Hamas bedwetters at University of New York, at Columbia, at Fordham, standing against genocide. Now, the big guy feels compelled to say something because, as I said, it's hurting the brand.
Both must be upheld. We are not an authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent. American people are heard. In fact, peaceful protest is in the best tradition of how Americans respond to consequential issues. But, neither are we a lawless country. We are a civil society, and order must prevail. Throughout our history, we've all...
Right, law and order, Joe. We're not an authoritarian nation. We don't silence people. That's what we have social media companies for, to do our bidding to silence people. The parenthetical comment that was unspoken. Coming up at 5:38, why is Mayor BLM Brandon running away from Marion Ahern? Who's got the better 40 time? 5:38. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Rain showers and some slick conditions on the roads. We'll get to that in traffic in just a moment. President Biden says Americans have the right to protest, but not the right to cause chaos.
There is no place for hate speech or violence of any kind, whether it's anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or discrimination against Arab Americans or Palestinian Americans.
Speaking from the White House.
Simply wrong.
Biden saying there's no place for hate speech and protests need to be done without violence. Survivors of the October 7 Hamas attack on Israel are suing pro-Palestinian advocacy groups. The plaintiffs, 5 American survivors of the attack and a family member of a victim who was killed, are accusing those groups of aiding and abetting terrorists. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs on Thursday signed a repeal of that state's near-total ban on abortion.
This ban needs to be repealed. I said it in 2022 when Roe was overturned, and I've said it again and again as governor.
2 Republicans joined with Democrats in the state Senate Wednesday in voting to repeal the 1864 law that was upheld by the Arizona Supreme Court last month. Mandatory evacuations issued along a rapidly rising river near Houston, Texas.
I am issuing, starting now, a mandatory call for evacuation along the east side of the East Fork of the San Jacinto River. We are changing from voluntary to mandatory evacuation.
Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo telling residents along the East Fork of that river to leave their homes. Many did so overnight. Chicago Police Department will be meeting with reporters today. They'll be discussing the capture and charges of the man accused of murdering CPD officer Luis Huesca. A coalition of groups is suing the city of Chicago over their right to march ahead of the Democrat National Convention. Rebecca Glenberg is with the ACLU.
So the city has cited, not having enough resources during the convention to ameliorate any traffic disruptions, and they've talked about not having sufficient law enforcement. This is one of the reasons that it's clear that the permit denial is so clearly unconstitutional.
Supermajority Democrats and progressives in the Illinois legislature are signing off on an election bill that would give Democrats perceived significant advantage toward keeping their legislative majorities before the November general election. Senate Bill 2412 originally began as a measure impacting child welfare, but late Wednesday, House Democrats completely gutted that bill to bring about an election measure. House Republicans voted present and stormed off the floor in protest. Asked about it yesterday at an unrelated event, the governor said he hasn't read the measure.
But as I understand, this is actually an ethics bill. It really does make sure that we don't have backroom deals to put people on the ballot.
However, later Pritzker signaled he's supporting the election omnibus bill. Among other things, the measure ends the process of Republicans or Democrats putting candidates on the general election ballot if no one from the party ran in the primary. On concurrence in the Senate Thursday, where it also passed, State Senator Erica Harris said the measure encompasses everything that is wrong with the state of Illinois.
It's a slap in the face to the concept of democracy, and it's a shameful and blatant political power grab.
The measure can now be sent to the governor for his signature. Cubs falter in the 11th, fall to the Mets 7-6. White Sox are in St. Louis tonight. Toronto edge Boston in the Stanley Cup playoffs 2-1. Maple Leafs forcing a Game 7 after trailing their Eastern Conference series against the Bruins 3-1. The news, a service of Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew. Anytime, anywhere, any place. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance and eliminate any surprises at quickdelivery.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager doesn't scare easily.
When kids are scary, that's the scariest. These kids, with Israel is committing genocide, these are really scary young people that have been created by our sick educational system and our sick media.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, where are we?
Wake up, Sleepy. It's debate time, and I'm going to wipe the floor with you.
In your dreams. Oh, wait, we're debating?
Try to keep up here. It's a debate, and we're going to talk about my great economy and your economy that's been a disaster. You see, Joe, the dollar is only backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government, and that's why people are dumping dollars for gold and silver.
I usually buy online, so it's all tracked by Big Brother.
Ha! You would. I get mine from the great Americans at Fox Valley Coins, Route 59 in Naperville.
Who are you again?
You're a funny guy, and I'm a serious guy. See, you're not smart with money. I'm very smart. That's why I'm telling everybody about Fox Valley Coins. I tried some other folks, horrible people. Go to Fox Valley Coins and even you'll be treated very, very well. Oh, and by the way, they've sold thousands of silver coins with my pictures on them. They've got a few of you too, but seems they can't hardly give those away.
That's really not much of a debate. Fox Valley Coins, Route 59 in Naperville is the place to buy or sell gold or silver.
Is it true when you do events, your handlers say, break a leg?
Huh?
Whoa!
When the storms hit Chicagoland this spring and your home or business has water damage, ProTech Restoration is ready 24/7. The certified team at ProTech Restoration will be there quickly and work directly with your insurance. But even in between the storms, if you come across water in your basement, bathroom, or kitchen due to leaking pipes, an appliance breakdown, or sump pump failure, know that ProTech Restoration has seen it all and knows what to do. They are a leading Chicagoland emergency water damage cleanup, repair, and restoration company, offering 24-hour rapid response. They'll clean up, extract, repair, even do a total build back. Search online for ProTech Restoration in Elk Grove Village and check out their Google reviews. To get your free on-site evaluation and estimate, visit ProTechWaterDamage.com. That's ProTech waterdamage.com. servicing the entire Chicagoland. ProTech Restoration. Experience, transparency, trust. ProTechWaterDamage.com.
Don't pay retail for your diamond engagement ring or gift. Come to CleanOrigin.com.
It's 5:38. Let's check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time will start on the Eisenhower outbound. Your delay between North Avenue and York Road because right after York Road, there's a semi in the ditch, partially jackknife onto the shoulder, a right lane blocked due to that accident. Outbound Ike just past York Road. I-80 still closed due to an earlier vehicle fire westbound between Larkin and Hobart. Also I-80 in Will County. There's an accident involving a semi westbound at Center. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast. In our ReviveYourLawn.com weather center, couple of morning showers, otherwise clouds giving way to sun, high 72, partly cloudy and 50 overnight. 62 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 6, and Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Amy must be navigating the Kennedy, so we'll have Amy join us momentarily. We're just talking about the party bros at North Carolina that stood for the flag, and we got a detailed perspective from one of them, which actually now has impressed me. It wasn't just sort of a contrarian in the moment type of event. There's actually some thought behind it, and they have an appreciation for this country's history, who sacrificed for the flag. It was explained very nicely, I thought, by that young dude. And so good for them. And keep the money rolling in. John Rich, the country singer, what's that song that he sings? I can't remember the name of it. I'm a little slow on the uptake on this Friday. It's something like Ride a Horse, Save a Cowboy, or something like that. What's it? You know the song. Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. That's it. Anyway, he is preemptively committed to throw a concert for these guys too. So I'm saying this thing is starting to build into perhaps a national event, Trump rally style, and I hope it does. Perhaps a moment. He's calling it Flagstock, this nascent concert that will be attendant to the rager that the country is going to throw for these North Carolina undergrads. So before we move on from that, Frank in Tinley Park here on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, it's too bad that some of the sports teams, fraternities, didn't do the same thing. They got more than the President of the United States. All the kids would listen to them.
Oh, you mean like the pro athletes? Pro athletes, you mean? Right?
Well, to start, the Heisman Trophy winners and that, they could have given a speech to calm it down.
Well, Caleb Williams was busy doing his nails, so he was unavailable. Thanks for the call, Frank. Yeah, it would be nice to hear from celebrities, as it were, athletes and so forth, in our celebrity culture to stand up for those North Carolina bros, to properly repudiate the campus Huns. That would be nice, but I think we know what to expect, generally speaking, from our celebrities, with a few exceptions, right? Yeah, they're not going to be those people who lead us out of the darkness to a better place. But maybe those North Carolina bros will. All right, anyway, I did want to tackle this other topic that Mike Scott was reporting on in the news there. This legislation that is moving to Governor Jelly Belly's desk And, he's always the last to know. I love the sort of the innocent bystander routine that he does. Well, yeah, this legislation is heading to my desk. I haven't seen it. I've heard about it. I think it's something I'll consider. I think it, addresses something important about election integrity. It's always sort of that milquetoast rhetoric he gets away with to cover the fact that he's just a shill for the radical left. It's what Uncle Joe, Mr. 10%, used to do. It's what Dick Durbin does. You understand this routine. The whole, I'm thoughtful and I'm considerate. I'm hearing from my party, and I think they make some good points, and so I'm going to take a look at it, and so on. I mean, all this stuff is just theater. It's very much like the theater going on right now, which amazes me that people still don't pick up on this routine that's done. They've never seen this act before. I'm talking about, of course, his, that's a non-starter, that Bears Dome proposal, at least in its current, 5-phase form. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my henchmen meet with the Bears and let's talk about it. Let's see if there's the possibility of coming to some kind of agreement, because I want to keep an open mind, because I'm a reasonable, open-minded guy. That's the posturing that's done. And but I gotta remember that this is other people's money, because at my core, I'm a champion for the taxpayers. So I have to be a good steward of scarce taxpayer dollars, and so we're really going to have to dig into this. And as I've told you, this thing is already done. If the Bears truly want a dome on the lakefront, I mean, Friends of the Park may throw some roadblocks up, but the governor and the General Assembly will not. Oh, we worked them over. We beat them up. We brought our green eye shades guys in, and we said, oh, that's not going to work, and this needs to change. And now we hammered out over months of tortured, very particular negotiations, getting into all the details. We worked out a deal, I think, that benefits everybody. So we keep the Chicago Bears in Chicago. The Bears, hooray, yeah, yeah, yeah. Give me a high five. And that's also great for taxpayers and the residual benefits down the road, iconic this and Chicago that. And then everybody was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, you worked out a deal. Sounds good. And pay no attention to the fact that anybody who believes that, for these people who I'm addressing, pay no attention to the fact that you're a pigeon. Pay no mind. Oh, yeah, you worked out a deal. Yeah. So this is what we have attendant to this, super majority protection act that Jelly Belly signed. Now, by the way, this is not at all flacking for the Illinois Republican Party, because this is just another reminder of how pathetic the eunuchs in charge of the Illinois Republican Party, the legal fiction that it is, how pathetic they are. So the legislation, as Mike Scott was reporting, would prevent parties from appointing a legislative candidate in a race after the primary, in a race where they didn't field one. So, right, people understand this. It used to be, until 5 minutes ago, that you didn't field a candidate in a particular state House or state Senate race. The party could appoint after the primary. Well, that ends that. And what does that mean? Well, it means that a lot of these races where there wasn't a Republican candidate, there won't be a Republican candidate. It's formally a Soviet election. They're not even going through the motions of having a name on the ballot to pretend there's electoral competition. There's just one choice. But I mean, there are 23 Senate seats up for election this year. 23 of the 59 in the state Senate. Republicans failed to field a candidate in 8 of those seats, and 20 other seats held by Dems are not on the ballot this year. So they basically need just a few seats to maintain their majority, to maintain their supermajority. 2 seats shy of keeping a Senate majority, 8 seats shy of keeping a supermajority before a ballot is cast. Or, I don't know, has early voting started? I know it starts pretty. And that, so if Pritzker signs this legislation, which he indicated, as you heard, that he would. So it's 39-19 in the state Senate. And this ensures it will continue to be. But hey, good news is Republicans get to keep their 19 seats. In the House, 78-40. What did the legislative leaders of the Illinois GOP have to say about this? John Curran, eunuch, one of the few suburban Republicans left because, well, I don't know, because why would you want to get rid of John Curran when he does your bidding? So go ahead and, represent Hinsdale and Clarendon Hills for another term or two until we decide, well, let's just get rid of him and put a formal Marxist in, as opposed to a Marxist appeaser, as opposed to a Vichy Republican like John Curran. Truly pathetic. He said the legislation is an example of, quote, how you steal an election, criticizing the Marxists for, quote, changing the rules halfway through an election cycle to stack the deck for their favored incumbent candidates. Anybody see the glass house that John Curran is living in? I mean, generally speaking, but on this specific issue I'm really addressing. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. How you steal an election, changing the rules halfway through to stack the deck for their favorite incumbent candidates. Yeah. Well, let me clue you in. It should be obvious, but it wouldn't be material. I mean, you could argue the principle of the matter, persuasively so. I agree with him on the principle of the matter. But it wouldn't be material if what? If the Senate Republicans had recruited and fielded candidates in the races where they now will not have one. Oh, right. That would require the sort of work product that is just beyond the reach of Illinois Republican, quote-unquote, leaders, wouldn't it? The measure also placed on the November ballot non-binding advisory proposals to make sure the Dems turn out their base and they have something to talk about other than, I don't know, the economic and moral destruction of the state under their leadership. The non-binding advisory proposals, asking voters if they favor insurance coverage protections for in vitro fertilization. Of course. If earners of $1 million or more should be taxed extra to pay for property tax relief. And if candidates for office should face civil charges for attempting to interfere with election workers. Yeah. They're protecting the sanctity of the election process. They're saving our democracy in Springfield by eliminating candidates and putting these, cooked up advisory questions on the ballot to advance their propaganda. They're protecting women's rights, and they're saving our democracy, and they're making the millionaires and billionaires pay their fair share. It's just something to really to watch. I mean, there's nothing, zero, no one, with maybe the exception of this show, Ted Dabrowski's Wire Points outlet. Other than that, there is nothing that inhibits the Marxists who we have leveled up to control this state. So, like, all the hand-wringing and the feigned surprise, pretty unpersuasive, don't you think? What did that North Carolina undergrad say? Don't bend the knee. Stand up. Be a man. Gosh, it's almost like he was talking directly to the Illinois electorate. At least the center-right electorate that has not gone completely criminally insane, but just doesn't want to do anything about what they know to be true. Don't bend the knee, stand up, be a man. Yeah. Illinois Republican Party could use that lecture. They have no one in the General Assembly that is not bending the knee, that is standing up, that is being a man. And frankly, they're not held any more accountable than those who are actually in charge, are they? And there is no level of insult that the electorate in Chicagoland, in particular, will not suffer, is there? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. You don't get it. You don't get a choice. Why do you need a choice? Why go through the charade? Right. Yeah, exactly. Let's just cut to the chase. We don't need to keep up appearances. We know who's in charge. We know there is no competition or the desire for any. Why even bother running the traps? Totally agree. And while we're at it, let's turn the screws a little bit. While we're turning the elections formally into Soviet exercises, let's throw a couple questions on the ballot to do the women's rights, save our democracy, the millionaires and billionaires paying their fair share, just to make sure you know there's no let up on our side. We'll continue to turn that knife. We will continue to propagandize at every turn, in every place. And you'll continue to take it. That's what we're counting on. Are they wrong? Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Larry Nora, founder and CEO of U-Store, a network of award-winning self-storage facilities in the Chicago area, and a customer of Signature Bank. We've developed over 70 storage centers throughout the city and suburbs, and our business continues to grow. We need a bank who understands the neighborhoods and communities where we are making investments. We found that in Signature Bank. They know this city and its neighborhoods because they are based right here in Chicago. Finding a local banking institution like Signature Bank has been critical to the success of U-Store, and we look forward to a long-term relationship.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 golf outing presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responders and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 19th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing package, which includes 25 one-minute commercials between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. And we also have twosomes available in addition to foursomes. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Control Point Engineering, Waukegan Roofing, and by Crosscom Public Adjusters.
This is Hugh Hewitt for Townhall.com. What Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg is doing in Manhattan in his contrived case against Donald Trump is appalling. And it will get worse before it gets better in terms of interference with the campaign in a trial that should never have been begun, much less continued into the stretch run of the presidential campaign. We are watching a show trial, and everyone knows it. I expect a spectacular backlash from this abuse of the criminal law. Most Americans have due process in their bones, and they know Trump is not getting due process. They see the permanent government putting its thumb on the scale, or in this case, its entire fist on the scale. Pray the rebuke Democrats receive in November is enough to reset the party back somewhere close to where the old school liberals lived. We don't need a two-party system where one party has lost its commitment to the rule of law and to our ally Israel. Democrats have abandoned them both. The reckoning is coming. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hello, my name is Jim. I'm a very outdoors, active type person. With Balance of Nature, it sure has helped me feel really good every day. The fruits and vegetable ingredients, I think, is the whole foundation of what makes the product so good for me. I'm looking at the future, and I do not want to stop doing what I'm enjoying. With the product, I know I'll be able to continue it. I feel great. Can't complain about anything.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up at 6:06, BLM Brandon is on the move from anywhere the Chicago Press Corps is. We'll have that story after we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Coalition suing over DNC protest. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
Another encampment cleared at another college campus. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It happened just in the last hour. At New York University, where NYPD officers arrived around 6 a.m., Fox's Molly Lyons there in Manhattan.
They came equipped with their helmets, batons, moved very quickly through this encampment. The people were rising, getting out of their tents, and in less than a half an hour, they have basically moved all of the people back all the way through down this walkway next to the Paulson Center and out the back of this kind of narrow alleyway between two buildings. The tents, of course, left behind, all of the rubbish and the signs and the things here is they've created kind of a line here. But the people that had been in these tents that were roused when the officers arrived have essentially been moved out to the back of this area.
Now, the day after, it took police hours to clear out an encampment at UCLA clashing with student protesters. President Biden spoke out against violence in the anti-Israel encampments.
There's the right to protest, but not the right to cause chaos.
Also saying we can't tolerate hate speech and threats against Jewish students. Former President Trump will soon return to court in New York City as his first criminal trial resumes, the day after the jury heard his voice in testimony. Fox's Eric Shawn was there.
It was a dramatic moment late yesterday afternoon here at Manhattan Criminal Court as the voices of Trump and Michael Cohen echoed in the cavernous courtroom. Secret recordings made between the two that Cohen made on his iPhone's voice memo app 2 months before the November presidential election in 2016. Trump can be heard talking about paying with cash for the deal to silence Playboy playmate Karen McDougal's claims of their affair. But the defense will point out there is no mention of the alleged conspiracy to influence the election, and they can also claim it was a standard non-disclosure agreement that he was making.
The former president's charged with falsifying records and pains to keep Stormy Daniels quiet. America's listening to Fox News.
62 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott.
Brandon Tatum.
79-year-old woman has died after an apartment fire in the Rogers Park neighborhood. It happened Thursday night around 9 o'clock. Chicago police say Chicago Fire responded to that blaze in a 3-story apartment block. A 79-year-old woman was found, rushed to St. Francis Hospital, later pronounced dead. Chicago Police Department will be meeting with reporters today discussing the capture and charges of the man accused of the murder of CPD officer Luis Huesca. Xavier Tate Jr. was arrested Wednesday by members of a U.S. Marshals task force in Glendale Heights. A coalition of groups is suing the city of Chicago over their right to march ahead of the Democrat National Convention. Rebecca Glenberg is with the ACLU.
So the city has cited, not having enough resources during the convention to ameliorate any traffic disruptions, and they've talked about not having sufficient law enforcement. This is one of the reasons that it's clear that the permit denial is so clearly unconstitutional.
The group filed a federal lawsuit claiming the city wrongfully denied permits for the group to protest on Michigan Avenue in August. An elderly Missouri man is in custody for a cold case homicide from nearly 60 years ago in Calumet City. 79-year-old James Barbier is charged with first-degree murder in the 1966 stabbing death of 18-year-old Karen Snyder. Her daughter is Paula Larson.
And I didn't stop looking at him. I felt no remorse for him. I do not feel bad. I feel that you have lived your life 57 years free. I don't feel bad for him.
Police say they reopened the case in 2022. The investigation led them to Barbier, a family friend who had worked with Snyder's husband. He was arrested Monday in Missouri. Cubs fall to the Mets 7-6. White Sox aim to avoid their fourth loss in a row when they visit the Cardinals at Busch. Byron Nelson in Dallas is underway. The PGA, Matt Wallace, your leader at 8 under par. The news, a service of Woodland Windows and Doors. For 55 years, Woodland has been transforming living spaces with beautiful windows and doors. Take advantage of our 10% off installation on purchases through June 30th. Book your appointment now. Visit woodlandwindows.com to get started today. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher doesn't think now is the time.
I have to plead guilty to avoiding the drama around Speaker Johnson, and let me tell you why. Trying to replace him before the election would be a disaster. It would be political suicide for the Republican Party. Well, it got a lot of momentum. The last thing we need to do is have another fiasco of replacing Mike Johnson before the election.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
6:08, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of ReviveYourLawn.com. Don't DIY-RYL, and Revive Your Lawn with landscapes and design experts. Outdoor patios, kitchens, hardscapes, softscapes, lighting, and more. Get an instant online estimate today at ReviveYourLawn.com. Kennedy inbound only at 30 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound is fine. Stevenson inbound 30 minutes. 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan 14 minutes 95th into the Burns Circle. I-80 still major shutdowns westbound between Larkin and Hobart due to a much earlier semi-truck fire. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy start next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast in our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center. Here's Steve Williams.
A few clouds this morning, maybe a shower or two, then partly sunny. The high today 72. Tonight partly cloudy, though 50. Clouds and warm tomorrow, the high 78. Sun and clouds cooler on Sunday, the high Sunday 64. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
62 in clouds at O'Hare, cloudy in Aurora 61. Cloudy in Wheeling 63. Romeoville cloudy in 61. Your next news update 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, we're pleased to welcome a very special guest on this edition of Chicago's Morning Answer. Amy Jacobson is here.
Stop it.
Thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of the Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's really good to be here.
Yeah.
My alarm didn't go off, and I don't know. Is there something going on with iPhones where alarms are not going off?
Oh, okay.
I could have sworn I heard in the news.
Yeah, right.
And Mike Scott's like, no.
No. You're just. This is like my dog ate the homework. Yeah,
no,
I got it. We got it.
Sorry. And you guys woke me up from the best. I had a dream. I had cats all over my house. I had cats in the bedroom closet, and these were beautiful, like designer cats.
Oh boy.
And then I started counting, and I was like up to like 70 plus cats that I was housing, and then somehow I fell in a river and I lost my bed, and then Quinn called
I see.
me.
So you didn't take your antipsychotic drugs last night before you went to bed? I got it. Yeah.
I don't know what it all. I had water in my basement, so I think that's had something to do with the water in my dream. So I was up all night getting water out of my basement, but everything's
We'll do
fine
more.
now. I'll call Permasil later.
Yeah, we'll do more
some
dream
pills to
interpretation with Amy Jacobson and Open Mic Friday a little bit later in the show. I'm glad you're here because I wanted to get the backstory on your gal pal there, one of the Bouvier sisters, Marianne Ahern, NBC5. Yeah, she's, she's still sprightly, I get it, but she doesn't have the chops to be literally running around trying to chase down younger politicians like BLM Brandon, but that's what happened yesterday.
Hey, Mayor, please wait. Mr. Mayor. She's running in her pink dress.
Why do you have to run from us?
Mayor, we
why
just want to comment about the arrest
us,
last
Mayor?
night in relation to Officer Weska. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, why would you run from us?
He just ran.
Oh, he ran. Run, Brandon, run.
And he took off in his little car. Why did she say, why you running, bitch? Get back here, you bitch. You scaredy cat bitch. Come on, let's go. Let's street this up a little bit. She absolutely should have. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. If anybody knows the location of BLM Brandon Johnson, please send us the coordinates so we can pass them on to Marion Ahern.
I mean, he wasn't, I have never, and I've covered so many mayors, I've never seen a mayor take off running, ever.
We've never had a mayor who could run. We
Well,
had
he didn't
a
run-
mayor
I
who
mean,
we had a mayor who could pirouette.
Yes.
But that's not the same thing.
Well, man, he's nimble. He would move fast. If he wanted to run from the press, he could take off running. But Brandy was he was trying in his suit and trying to run, but he was actually running away from the media. And kudos to Marianne. I know she had her pink dress on and flats, but she was there. She was like, I am not letting him get away. I'm going to throw myself in front of the black SUV.
Well, she should. Why didn't she do a TJ Hooker and jump on the hood? Sure. I mean, this is like better off dead. Yeah, I want my $3. She just needs to get on her little bicycle and just chase him down, ski hills, whatever. Chase that guy down.
I mean, so
by the way,
get the inside scoop of what's going on. I talked to a few reporters. I didn't talk to her, but they think because there's other reporters.
Marianne's here. Let's get the hell out of here.
Well, she's there at every press
Scatter.
conference. It's not like it's an anomaly. She's there all the time. She's the political reporter. But maybe he didn't want to answer questions about why he was disinvited to the funeral.
Oh, gosh.
That's part of the reason. And then also,
maybe.
I mean, because he was at a national prayer breakfast meeting. It was outside. And then he snuck around the back and boom, was literally running from reporters. Could be that. It could be. But why wouldn't you want to talk about a great arrest? Somebody who took one of your own. Officer Weska's alleged killer was taken down, and that's what they wanted to talk to him about.
Wow, they were going to ask other questions that may be considered imprudent. Like you just said, like the whole deal about being disinvited, or I don't know.
Why did you wait
maybe
till the last
about
hour?
the what do you have to say to J.B. Pritzker? Why isn't he writing a blank check to the Bears like you are? I don't know. What do you think about all your friends on campuses, like down at UFC, UIC, Northwestern, that are, running around promoting the genocide of the Jews? I know you're supportive of them, but I mean, what do you think? Is it a little too much? Is it just the right amount? What do you think? All kinds of questions he probably doesn't want to answer because he's working on building a better, bigger, safer. What is it?
No, better, strong. Come on, all right, everybody together. A better, stronger, safer Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
I want it on a T-shirt. I want to say it every morning. I want to hear him say it every day of my life because that's so far so good. Yeah, that's what he wants: a better, stronger, safer Chicago.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
In terms of like how we can help here, Marianne Ahern and her fight to track down the mayor. I think Chicago. I mean, it's a little bit of a tribute to Marianne Ahern, who I'm not over the moon about the way that you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, don't try to take my girl.
No,
okay?
I'm not. I'm
don't
not.
You dare.
No, you and Carol Marine can fight over her.
Okay.
But everybody should dress up like Marianne Ahern, so that wherever Brandon Johnson goes, Marianne Ahern is there. So it's like she's our Slim Shady. What do you think? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Ideas of how we can help Marianne Ahern track down BLM Brandon. We're just trying to do a public service here.
I have never. Have you ever seen a mayor run like that? Because now
As I said,
that's going to make national news.
We've never had a mayor who has the chops to actually move with that speed and agility. I mean,
well, Lightfoot. Well,
no,
she just wouldn't talk to white people that one day. But normally she was pretty.
Well, she announced that. That's not the same thing as scampering away.
True, that's true.
Yeah.
And no, Daley never.
Daley's not a runner.
Not a runner. Not a runner.
No.
Is Brandon Johnson? He's not an athlete, is he? I don't think. I mean,
no, you're thinking of Dexter Reed. He was the athlete. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much time he has for sports because he has a black wife and 3 black children at home that he's trying to raise.
On the west side of Chicago. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget to throw that in.
Yeah. Maybe like questions about the DNC.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in connection with the protest, he didn't want to answer. Just get the hell out of here.
Code red, go. Put the car around. Put the car around in the alley.
Mr. Mayor, why are you running? I mean, it was very Pam Zeckman.
Uh-huh.
Right? When Pam Zeckman, that little troll, used to do those investigative reports. And it wouldn't be in mayors, but when she'd have somebody in the crosshairs and they want to get away from Pam Zeckman, she'd be running, down a sidewalk with her microphone out and the camera guy behind her. Yeah, why are you running? Mr. Mayor, Mr. Whoever. Yeah.
You know what? So if we're all going to dress
Chicago
up,
media follies. All right.
we could have no, but she did have on. I mean, did you see her? She had a beautiful pink dress on. We can all wear
I
pink
didn't
dresses.
see. I'm sure she was resplendent in pink.
Oh no, she's got good. I like her fashion sense.
Like Patty Blagojevich in white at the trial. Yeah, I know. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
These are our.
But I'm saying that she
these
can
are our
do
celebrities. How much of a hick town is this? These are our celebrities. Oh my gosh.
Well, some people think you're a celebrity. Your golf foursome sold right away.
Well,
I got to find out who bought you.
some people just know that I play a lot of golf and I'm okay. Probably. I don't know if they think I'm a celebrity. I don't think I'm a celebrity.
I think that they think you're a celebrity.
No.
Or you could be a villain, infamous. Not
no,
famous, but infamous.
I would run if Marianne Ahern was chasing me too. Yeah.
Well, you don't run from the press, though.
No, I don't care. Marianne Ahern's raked me over the coals a couple of times. It's fine. I remember. Wait, what's my last? I think my last interaction with her was back. It's been a minute. Probably back in
when you were working for Cicero.
No, Jeannie Ives' campaign against Bruce Rauner at the City Club, and we did that ad. Thank you, Bruce Rauner, for Sanctuary State and for men and women's bathrooms and so on and so forth. That ad that upset so many people.
Oh my God, people were out of there about that and the Scream ad. You shook Chicago.
Well, exactly. And boy, that ad that we ran in 2018, that wasn't too prescient, was it? That wasn't foreshadowing. That wasn't positively pedestrian compared to what ultimately came to be. But yeah, no, of course, everybody had to get their moral indignation on because that's what these neo-Luddites in Chicago do, including the press corps, most notably the press corps. But Marianne Ahern wanted to know if I did the ad and did you do the ad? And she said it's a campaign ad. It's like, I know, but did you do it?
Answer the question.
Did you commit the murder?
And did you?
And my answer to her was, I just gave you your answer. And that was it.
Wow. Did it make the news?
And then I ran out the back door. Let's get the hell out of here.
Code red.
I mean, what could be that pressing that he had to get? There's nothing else in his schedule, public schedule, for the rest of the day. It was a quick national prayer service that they had, which I was glad to see him there as the son of a preacher, and then he took off running.
He didn't want to have to match wits with Marianne Ahern. There's a show. Matching Wits with Marianne Ahern. There's an interview program. Look, I'm doing all kinds of work for NBC5. I hope I get some residual benefit. Like if I ever run another ad in Chicago, maybe they won't take it down when it's just footage of what's actually happening in Chicago. For example, maybe I could get a little special dispensation there. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hello, my name is Jim. I'm a very outdoors, active type person. With Balance of Nature, it sure has helped me feel really good every day. The fruits and vegetable ingredients, I think, is the whole foundation of what makes the product so good for me. I'm looking at the future, and I do not want to stop doing what I'm enjoying. With the product, I know I'll be able to continue it. I feel great. Can't complain about anything.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Got a lot of text messages. Didn't Marion Ahern just have a hip replacement too? Good
Oh,
for her.
perfect. She's in. Yeah, she could track him down. You know what? I'm going to. I've given some good ideas to Marion Ahern for a show.
Yeah.
Matching wits with Marion Ahern, and for the city of Chicago to become Slim Shady's for Marion Ahern, so that Brandon Johnson can't avoid a Marion Ahern. It's sort of like what was the Fox Day movie with Natalie Portman? Why am I blanking on it? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I can't.
Based on Natalie. Wait, hold on.
Do you want me to read the text while you're doing it?
V for Vendetta.
Yeah,
okay, the same kind of thing with the mask. But now I'm going to try to give her a little incentive.
Okay.
I'm gonna prod her a little bit because I know she's not gonna like this. So this will make her rise to the challenge of tracking Baylon Brandon down. You ready?
I'm ready.
You know, Marianne, maybe tracking down the mayor isn't for you. Maybe that's more of a job for Chuck Gowdy and the I-Team. That'll get her going.
She does not like competition. Please ask her not to approach Jelly Belly for a comment. The city alleys have enough potholes.
True. He'll snap his legs.
Oh,
he
that's
tries
right.
to run away.
Because he broke his femur standing at the state fair, which
Well,
people seem to forget.
He's not going to run, though. But I don't know if people see this. It's hard to always see on TV. But he has a harness on at all times that's attached to a Black Hawk helicopter. So they just pick him up and fly him away in the case that Marion Ahern shows up.
Okay. Choosing where to send your kids to school this fall is a very important decision as parents. Even as this school year is coming to an end, you might be thinking about, I don't like this place. Where should I send my kid to school in the fall? Well, you need to know that private school is a real option for you and your family. Just go to halfpriceschools.com where the tuition is, you guessed it, half the price. There's schools in St. Andrews Lutheran School in Park Ridge, Ravenswood Christian School, Chicago, St. Peter Lutheran School, Schaumburg. Don't delay next school year. We'll be here before you know it. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
This is a red alert for hard-working Americans who are tired of seeing their freedoms and retirement savings threatened by the globalist agenda. Wealth Protection Research is on a mission to find whistleblowers who are exposing these schemes. Real patriotic financial warriors like Jim Rickards and Porter Stansberry. They're not afraid to tell it like it is and fight back against the system. Now, with the 2024 election storming our way, your IRA and your 401k may be in the crosshairs. That's why we've compiled our 3 favorite ideas into our Election Protection Report. You definitely won't hear any of these in the mainstream news. Get your free copy of our Election Protection Report now. Just text TRUTH to 76626. Plus, today you'll also get a free gold investment kit from our sponsor, Augusta Precious Metals. Text TRUTH to 76626 now and get the free report and gold investment kit. The fight for your financial freedom is on. Text the word TRUTH to 76626.
Standard text and data rates may apply.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson here. You know when you're at the mall and you go to those directory signs, the one that says you are here? Well, imagine that directory is a map of your preparation for retirement. Would you know where you are? My friend Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group is offering you the opportunity to not only find yourself on that map, but also find the route toward a successful retirement. He calls it his retirement roadmap. You'll get an analysis of where you are right now, whether you're at risk if the market drops again, whether you're taking advantage of the latest tax changes, and much, much more. To get an idea where you stand on the road to retirement, call my friend Tom Fortino at the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-934-1855. That's 630-934-1855. And ask for the retirement roadmap or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And don't forget to listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560, The Answer at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
AM 560, The Answer.
Real quick, got another text message. Dan and Amy, you have it all wrong. Maybe Brandon Al Rokered his pants. and had to run away.
Could be.
He could have, I don't know if I could say that word on the air.
He
But could have
soiled
pooped
himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a possibility.
Yeah, it's possible. Remember, he is, let's be a little bit considerate. He has a medical condition. We understand. He's never addressed it, but he has panic attacks.
Oh, he does.
And seeing the Bouvier sisters walking down an alley would give me a panic attack, too, by the way.
He's also diabetic, too, yes. Maybe he
Mm-hmm.
can get in on that free Ozempic that we're handing out to state employees.
Well, I guess he's a little thick in the middle, or he's got a bit of a gut. I think he's not doing Pilates like he should be.
Oh, like you are, Dan.
He's not
hard-boiled eggs and black
drinking.
coffee.
Yeah, drinking black coffee, eating hard-boiled eggs, smoking 6 cigars a day like he should be, like everybody should be. And you want to start him young too, by the way, in terms of my program. Yeah, I know we're efforting some audio of BLM Brandon. And that interchange. You heard Mary Ahern screaming at him.
Yeah.
But I think we have some reviews, but that'll be upcoming.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, I don't.
Make me wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. I mean, we got a lot of show left. By the way, just in other important city news. I mean, what is the point of talking about like anything of substance in the city? Let's just talk about Mary Ahern, BLM Brandon. Let's talk about this story from NBC5. I hope I don't think Nicole Lee will be ducking Mary Ahern with these hagiographic propaganda pieces. So Nicole Lee is the 11th Ward Alderman. Oh, the famous 11th Ward.
First Asian female alderman. I've heard all about her.
Exactly. Well, that's
what
what
she's touted.
That's what the story is.
It is.
Using her Asian American voice to amplify others in her Southside community. As an Asian American, can we eliminate that phrase as a fill in the identitarian blank? As a Irish, Danish honky, can we just eliminate as an Asian American? She opened up to NBC5. Elder human Nicole Lee opened up to NBC5 about her Asian American heritage and how she uses her Asian American voice to amplify the voices of other Asian Americans in the 11th Ward. This is news you can use. This is why they have what's the NBC5 version of the I-Team with Chuck Gowdy?
They just NBC5 investigates.
Oh, yeah. That's why they have NBC5 investigates. You have to say it with the appropriate intonation. It still kind of blows Nicole Lee. Everybody has the same voice. It still kind of blows my mind. This is Nicole Lee. It still kind of blows my mind as someone who grew up in Chinatown, never really picturing a time where we would have an elected official, let alone myself, in a first Asian majority ward.
They have Asians in Chinatown?
Exactly. This just in. NBC5 Investigates is all over that story. They'll have more at 10 o'clock this evening. Yes.
News at 11.
All right, and we'll update Mary Ahern ambulating around Chicago in her sensible shoes trying to track down BLM Brandon.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I guess at 6:36 we need to stop talking about Mary Ahern briefly. Joanna Williams is a Spite columnist, and she will join us to talk a little bit about how anti-Semitism became a virtue on American campuses at 6:36.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
62 degrees. Skies are gray this morning, and we'll have clouds throughout the morning. President Biden speaking out against protesters using hate speech and violence in an address from the White House.
Let me be clear. Peaceful protest in America. Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is. It's against the law when violence occurs. Destroying property is not a peaceful protest.
Pro-Palestinian protesters have been disrupting college campuses across the country. Meantime, Manhattan DA officers are confirming that a police officer did fire a shot while police were clearing protesters out of Columbia University's Hamilton Hall Tuesday night. A source this morning telling the New York Post a single shot was fired. No one was hurt. Tensions continue rising on other college campuses Haley is a student at the University of North Carolina. She spoke about the ongoing unrest there.
It has been very challenging just to even be able to study. Like, I've had 3 different times where I was either taking a midterm or doing a presentation, and outside of the building, there were bullhorns just shouting, Free Palestine.
Violence erupted on the UNC campus when an American flag was replaced by a Palestinian one. Haley and some other students held up their own American flag as a counter-protest. They were pelted by bottles, sticks, and other projectiles. The captain of a California boat will spend the next 4 years behind bars over a fatal fire on his boat.
Jerry Boylan of Santa Barbara sentenced to 4 years in custody and 3 years of supervised release on a negligence conviction known as seaman's manslaughter. The 70-year-old scuba dive boat captain found guilty of misconduct after 34 people died in a 2019 boat fire near Santa Cruz Island. Prosecutors say he abandoned the ship. Officials say he and 4 crew members made it off while 33 passengers and 1 crew member died below the deck of smoke inhalation. While an exact cause of the blaze was not revealed, federal investigators say it may have ignited from cell phones and batteries left charging overnight. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
The fire claimed the lives of 33 passengers. Well, you ready to lose some money? Fierceness is the favorite at 5-2 at Saturday's 150th running of the Kentucky Derby from Churchill Downs in Louisville. Sierra Leone is next at 3-1. Here in Chicago, a 79-year-old woman has died after an apartment fire in the Rogers Park neighborhood on Thursday night. Chicago police will discuss with reporters today the capture and charges of the man accused of murdering CPD officer Luis Huesca. Cubs lost to the Mets 7-6 in 11 innings, while the White Sox take on the Cardinals at Busch tonight. The news, the service of Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale is here. Save up to $700 on select mattresses from top brands. Shop a wide selection of quality beds at every price, plus get a free adjustable base with qualifying purchase at Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka sees more frivolous spending.
Any idea how much the Democrats spent on the January 6th committee? Eric, do you remember how long was the January 6th committee? Like a couple of months, maybe?
Give or take, yeah.
Okay. They spent $16 million of our money. $16 million.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I've been cooking most of my life after seeing my parents cook, so I stuck with some of the Spanish traditions, some of the Cuban dishes, and I like to cook my own food because I want to know what's in my food. Balance of Nature, it's already incorporated into my diet. I've looked at other supplements out there, and they don't have what Balance of Nature has. So I am taking the initiative to stay on Balance of Nature forever.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800 2468751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage, available at Navage.com.
6:37, a check of the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Well, if you're traveling First Avenue in and around Riverside this morning, tough sledding. You have an accident at 31st and First Avenue, the north side of Riverside, and then the south side of Riverside where it borders up against Brookfield and Lyons. You have an accident at Ogden and First Avenue. So that little mile-and-a-half stretch, tough sledding this morning, as is I-80. Remains shut down due to a vehicle fire from much earlier in the overnight. Westbounders are delayed between Larkin and Hobart as that vehicle fire and investigation has things shut down there. Bishop Ford, just hearing a report of an accident, 2 right lanes blocked. It's on the outbound side between 115th and 130th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. In our ReviveYourLawn.com weather center, a couple of morning showers. Otherwise, clouds give way to sun. 72 today. Partly cloudy, 50 overnight. Increasing clouds, warmer, high 78 tomorrow. Clouds and 62 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We've seen some of the footage of police interactions with model Hamas protesters from Columbia to UCLA. Got more than a little chippy. And one mom of a Jewish young man who attends UCLA is concerned about her son's safety on campus, so she called the administration to make sure that her son was being protected.
Good.
And this is how that exchange went.
I'm trying to report my kid is not able to get into the library. They are bombarding him and not allowing him to get into the library, citing the need for some wristbands. Did UCLA issue wristbands to people?
I don't have any information on that if they did.
Okay, so what should he do? Because he can't enter the library, he can't enter his classes.
So whoever he's speaking to right there that's saying that they need wristbands, is he not able to ask them any information?
They said because he's Jewish, he cannot enter that area and that they won't issue him a wristband.
So that wasn't a university thing. That's probably the protesters that are out there.
Right. So are the protesters allowed to not allow a student who pays tuition access to their class in the library?
No, they're not allowed, but unfortunately they have kind of taken over that little area right there. But is there any other entrance that your son can enter through?
No, they are barricading every area for him to get into. And with all due respect, why is that even tolerated? Like, why should a Jewish kid have to go to another entrance?
It's not, I don't know if I'm going to say it's tolerated, but unfortunately the police are not intervening with that right now. And this is coming from the university, so if you had any questions or concern, you would take it with the university itself.
So the university has taken a stance that they will not, in fact, allow or help Jewish students get to their classes, that this is going to be tolerated.
We've received a directive to not intervene at this time, yes.
And what is
Yeah, right. That's the administration's policy. Do you ever hear The saying, customer's always right.
Yes.
It's like whammy burger. It's like, yeah, well, that's not our policy. Do you ever hear the saying that Jewish students should be allowed in the library? And if somebody seizes part of your campus, you should have them unseized. Yeah, well, that's not our policy.
I mean, what if he was black and they weren't letting him in because he was black? The NBA would stop their finals right now. The Biden would call in the National Guard. I mean, it's so sick. If he's a white student, she should have asked him, well, if my son wasn't Jewish, would he be allowed to go in?
As long as he supports the genocide of the Jews, then he can come into the library. Joanna Williams joins us. She's a spy columnist, founder of CIEO, and author of How Woke Won, the Elitist Movement That Threatens Democracy, Tolerance, and Reason. That's a timely book and title because, of course, we've seen this for the last 2 weeks all over these elite, quote-unquote, universities. Joanna Williams, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So how about that? I mean, I appreciate campus police's honesty with that Jewish mom. Yeah, that's they just have taken over the campus, and we're told by the administration to stand down, and police aren't doing anything either. I mean, ultimately, LAPD did intercede there, but, law and order as a last resort.
No, this is absolutely awful. I mean, it's unbelievable to think that this is happening now. There was another political era where Jewish people were kept out of buildings and segregation occurred in this particular way. And we had an entire generation of young men who lost their lives and people who died fighting against the Nazis. Now we seem to have reached a stage where we roll over and let this situation, this segregation, singling out of Jewish students take place. And unfortunately, it seems like a large number of people who are in charge of our institutions are quite relaxed about this, are quite happy for this to take place. I think it's utterly shocking and abhorrent.
Well, and it's gotten enough attention and enough sort of general repudiation that President Biden finally felt compelled to address this with a pro forma statement yesterday. But it's always interesting to see how the left projects their conduct onto their target and euphemizes what they're actually doing. You see this all the time. These are not anti-Semitic bedwetters. These are anti-war protesters. They're just protesting war. They want war to stop. They're just pro-ceasefire. Pay no attention to the, anti-Israel's right to exist, pro-October 7th chants and rhetoric and haikus and so forth. But just the way that they try to use rhetorical artifice to recharacterize what's actually happening. And I guess because they're in charge of all these places and a lot of halls of power, in addition to formal halls of power, in addition to cultural ones, I guess it works in the West.
Well, it does. And I think what you illustrate is the fact that there's two different things almost going on here in unison. On the one hand, you've got these out of control students who are having essentially a temper tantrum on campus, a fit of hysteria and an anti-Semitic rage playing out in these leafy university campuses. But then you've got something else going on as well, which is an entire layer of bureaucrats, journalists, commentators, a real kind of elite, cultural elite, who are essentially condoning and kind of covering for their actions, not condemning or calling out what they're doing, but actually making excuses for them. And I think this idea that this is just like 1968 all over again, this is just hippie, peaceful protests, I think that's absolute rubbish. I mean, there's such clear distinctions First of all, 1968, these were anti-war protests. These were peace protests, whereas it seems to me that what these students are calling for actually is not a ceasefire at all, but the erasure of Israel. They want the war to continue. They just don't want Israel to be victorious. They want Hamas to be victorious. So it's the opposite of peace that they're calling for. Also, when you look at the 1960s, there were clearly protests against racism. It was calling for the end of racial segregation. Now, these protests are, again, doing the opposite of that. They're enforcing racial segregation, only singling out Jewish students rather than black students.
Well, speaking of making excuses for people, I want you to hear this. This is Professor Graham Blair. He's at UCLA, and they were talking. The place 200 people were arrested yesterday. The place was completely trashed, garbage everywhere, graffiti all over one of their beautiful halls. And he said, don't worry about that.
I think anyone who is worried about graffiti on buildings on a college campus needs to come visit a college campus. It's 18-year-olds who are learning for the first time how to express themselves.
Right. My police.
They just learn how to speak.
Right. Yeah. They're little babies. So we've had 2,000 people across the nation arrested here. Madison, Wisconsin, they took the tents down. They've since put them back up. Has there been any unrest like this or similar to this in Europe at college campuses
yes.
there?
There has. We've had a recent spate of camps being set up, certainly here in the UK and across other countries. Here, a university in Paris today has closed down its lessons before the end of term. There's no more teaching going to be taking place. So this is spreading. This is becoming a global movement. But I mean, just on the clip you played there about, these are just teenagers expressing themselves, I think that's the most disgusting way of excusing their behavior. I mean, I'm mum to an 18-year-old, a 22-year-old and a 25-year-old. I brought up my children to know that it's not appropriate to be dropping litter and writing on walls, beyond the age of 3 or 4, never mind 18. Right. It's disgusting the way excuses are being made for these students. And I think, it is a difficult situation to tread, because I do believe in free speech. But I think it's possible to say that people should have a right to protest whilst at the same time condemning their action, condemning the cause that they're espousing. They are completely wrong in what they're advocating for, but we should tolerate their right to protest. Unfortunately, what's happening is completely the opposite of this. You've got people making excuses for the cause and actually supporting them every step of the way. Oh, this is just peace, this is just creative expression. And then you've got this police crackdown, which unfortunately I think is just having the effect of making these protests spread further.
Yeah, but that should come as no surprise to us. We've seen this play out over and over and over again in Chicago. We have a mayor who calls young violent offenders kids being silly. That's the phrase that's used. Kids being silly when they go on wildings or they assault people, or worse. Kids are rambunctious and they're silly. We saw this during the summer of Black Lives Matter when looting was called symbolic taking. So, I mean, the infantilization and the excuse making for lawlessness is nothing new in the West. But maybe it's getting to a fever pitch. Maybe it is hopefully having more resonance than it has previously, because we seem to express outrage about it and then wait for it to happen again because we've done nothing to address the underlying cultural rot.
I think that's true, and I think the point about infantilization is really well made. But I think also we mustn't forget a political element to this. I think the reason why excuses are being made is because the people, the supposed adults in positions of authority, I think do actually sympathise with the protesters and the demands that they're making. And I think we've got this kind of casual anti-Semitism on the left that's been rampant now for decades, and it's just, it is a very kind of casual, it kind of hides itself as anti-Israel, anti-Zionism, but it really is just anti-Jewish bigotry. So you've got that kind of political excuse making. I think as soon as you see 18, 19-year-olds expressing political views that the woke establishment disagree with, then suddenly that infantilization isn't there anymore.
Right. No, then they're Christian nationalists and threats to our democracy. Yeah. Oh, no, I get it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, so the other thing, though, too, is the silence of Western leaders, if not the outright throwing in some places. I mean, the Marxist president of Colombia comes to mind, throwing in with the essentially Hamas and Islamist terrorists in calling for Israel and Netanyahu and others in leadership there to be prosecuted by at The Hague, the International Criminal Court. And and Rishi Sunak hasn't said anything about that, and of course Joe Biden hasn't said anything about that. But the West should be sending a message to the ICC, it seems to me, that to essentially throw Bibi Netanyahu in and the Israeli government in with those who have committed genocide throughout throughout modern times is absurd. It's not going to be supported by these countries, the United States, Britain, other civilized countries anywhere. Any of the continents will take anybody and everybody who wants to be civilized and stand up for good sense here. But very few people are saying that, hey, ICC, don't even think about going down this path.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And, I think what we need to realize is how cowardly our leaders are, and how much, again, they agree, I think, at heart with this casual anti-Semitism that we see. And they do not support Israel's right to exist anymore as in the way that they should do. There might be some rhetorical nods to this being an important to support Israel, but it's not demonstrated in any meaningful sense. But I think the other point about these protest camps there that we're seeing cropping up on universities is just how much of a moral boost that actually does give to Hamas on the ground in Gaza. They see these videos, and there's been some circulating on social media in the past few days of students actually dressed up essentially as Muslims, non-Muslim students, I'm on about, wearing headscarves and veils and essentially Muslim attire and role-playing as if they are in Gaza and in a Gazan refugee camp themselves. And you just imagine the leaders of Hamas must be rubbing their hands in glee when they see these video clips, just thinking, we don't need to make our case in the West. We've got this kind of army of global students doing our dirty work for us.
Joanna Williams is a spy columnist, founder of CIEO, and author of How Woke Won, the elitist movement that threatens democracy, tolerance, and reason. Joanna, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
A pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hi, this is Pastor Kelvin from Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights. It is time to get your children and grandchildren out of the godless government schools. How can we subject our loved ones to forced, ungodly psychological examinations and perverse sexual teachings? You would not send your child to a school that teaches 2 + 2 is 5. What is being taught today is far worse and damaging to minds and hearts. We can help through our on-campus Christian school and homeschool program. For over 55 years, we have operated a Christian school now in Arlington Heights, and we have served hundreds of thousands of families across our nation and foreign countries through our homeschool program, Christian Liberty Homeschools. Visit ChristianLiberty.com to learn more or to schedule a tour of our excellent 12-acre facility. Take action today. Visit ChristianLiberty.com, ChristianLiberty.com.
Feel good that you're doing something for yourself. Of course, I'm talking about taking care of your temple, what you feed it. Dan's on the black coffee, hard-boiled egg diet, which is great. He's looking good. I prefer...
Cigars.
Oh, and 6 cigars or 7? How many?
No, I mean, I'd say I'd recommend 4 to 6. Keep it in that range.
Okay. Okay, I'm into eating a little bit differently. I like to have fruits and vegetables every day, and I'm not getting that on my own, and that is where Balance of Nature comes in. 31 whole fruits and vegetables. They take the fruits and veggies, and they're powdered after an advanced vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. The number to call is 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
It's happening daily. We're being conned by the institutions we used to trust. The mainstream media is distracting us with meaningless headlines instead of focusing on the harsh realities facing American families. Time is short before something big happens, and that's why so many folks are preparing. They're becoming self-reliant by investing in emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure 4-week emergency food kits for each member of your family. Each kit contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Save $50 on each 4-week food kit you purchase, plus get free shipping on Ready Hour 4-week emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar power generators, water filtration units, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your unmarked boxes ship the same day. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
AM 560, The Answer.
By the way, we have the possibility of a pivotal moment in the Middle East coming. The city of Oak Park has been asked to take up a ceasefire resolution.
Oh, thank God.
So, as you know, Oak Park is the E.F. Hutton of international diplomacy, at least for hippies south of North Avenue and east of Harlem. And just like they ended nuclear proliferation in the 80s, we may have an end to the war in Gaza coming thanks to Oak Park. So just heads up on that.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk immigration, 7:07.
Today it's going to be cloudy, rain, a high of 72 degrees. It is now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
More pro-Palestinian encampments cleared this morning in New York City. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. At the New School and New York University, police showed up a few hours ago. Fox's Molly Lyons at NYU.
They moved in swiftly. They did give warnings to the protesters that remained here on site, telling them that they weren't allowed to be here, that it was time to leave, and that if there was an additional effort to push back against arrest, that there could potentially face additional charges beyond the arrest for the protest activity that was happening here. We believe that those folks have already been pushed all the way to the back of this protest and appear to have left the scene here. There are some additional folks that have arrived here essentially to support the protesters that were being taken away.
The day after it took hours to clear out a big anti-Israeli encampment at UCLA, making a lot of arrests there.
More than 200 people for failure to disperse, which is a misdemeanor. But as of now, the LA County DA's office says it has not received any cases from UCLA.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Former President Trump will soon return to court in New York and may speak out again before going in for his trial as he continues to claim he's being persecuted. The jury heard Trump's voice in a recording related to payments made to keep alleged affairs quiet before the 2016 election.
And Keith Davidson, a former attorney for both Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels, completed his testimony yesterday. He testified about various interactions with Cohen before and after the 2016 election. Davidson says Stormy Daniels' denial of an affair with Trump was technically true, and the money Cohen paid Stormy was not a payoff, but rather a, quote, consideration.
Fox's Brooke Singman. The former president's charged with falsifying records and payments to Daniels. An old Arizona law dating back to the Civil War that was going to take effect again after a recent court ruling that bans almost all abortions repealed, signed by the governor. America's listening to Fox News.
7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. 62 degrees here in Chicago. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A 79-year-old woman has died after an apartment fire in the Rogers Park neighborhood. Fire broke out around 8:45 Thursday night. Chicago Fire tells us the 79-year-old woman was found in a basement, rushed to St. Francis Hospital, later pronounced dead. Chicago Police Department meeting with reporters today. On the docket, discussions of the capture and nature of the man accused of the murder of CPD officer Luis Huesca. Xavier Tate Jr. was arrested Wednesday by members of a U.S. Marshals task force in Glendale Heights. A coalition of groups is suing the city of Chicago over their right to march ahead of the Democrat National Convention. Rebecca Glenberg is with the ACLU.
So the city has cited, not having enough resources during the convention to ameliorate any traffic disruptions, and they've talked about not having sufficient law enforcement. This is one of the reasons that it's clear that the permit denial is so clearly unconstitutional.
Supermajority Democrats and progressives in the Illinois General Assembly signed off on an election bill that would give Democrats a significant advantage in the November general election. Senate Bill 2412 started as a measure impacting child welfare, but that bill was gutted and replaced inside that bill with an elections measure. House Republicans voted present and stormed off the floor in protest. Asked about it Thursday at an unrelated event, Governor J.B. Pritzker says he hasn't read the measure fully.
But as I understand, this is actually an ethics bill. It really does make sure that we don't have backroom deals to put people on the ballot.
However, later Pritzker signaled he supports the election omnibus bill. Cubs falter in the 11th inning in a 7-6 loss to the Mets at Citi Field. Northsiders come home to take on the Brewers this afternoon. Meantime, the White Sox head to St. Louis. They'll take on the Cardinals at Busch. The news, a service of Team Hochberg. They've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners with the best rates and service. Let Team Hochberg help you by visiting 56david.com or call 855-563-2843. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk sees too much agreement in D.C.
They might shout at each other over abortion. They might shout at each other over guns. But that's all theatrics. When it comes down to what really matters, protecting big corporations, keeping our borders wide open, and relentlessly invading foreign countries and funding wars that have nothing to do with us, D.C. finds harmony.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, visit surroundchicago.com right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Visit surroundchicago.com today.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
This is Hugh Hewitt for Townhall.com. What Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg is doing in Manhattan
in his contrived case against Donald Trump is appalling, and it will get worse before it gets better in terms of interference with the campaign in a trial that should never have been begun, much less continued into the stretch run of the presidential campaign. We are watching a show trial, and everyone knows it. I expect a spectacular backlash from this abuse of the criminal law. Most Americans have due process in their bones, and they know Trump is not getting due process. They see the permanent government putting its thumb on the scale, or in this case, its entire fist on the scale. Pray the rebuke Democrats receive in November is enough to reset the party back somewhere close to where the old school liberals lived. We don't need a two-party system where one party has lost its commitment to the rule of law and to our ally Israel. Democrats have abandoned them both. The reckoning is coming. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
.707, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of ReviveYourLawn.com. Soggy, muddy yard, pooling water, neighbor drainage runoff. Boy, that's a constant battle until the experts at Revive Your Lawn get on the scene. Request your free drainage system consultation. ReviveYourLawn.com. Inbound Edens, 30 minutes, Lake Cook Road to the junction. Not bad on the Kennedy. I mean, it's tough, 60 minutes, but O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange is not too bad right now. You are seeing big delays between Nagle and Montrose. Ike, 46, 390 to the old post office. Northbound 55 has an accident between US 30 and Renwick Road. And delays on I-80 continue westbound between Gauger and Larkin due to a much earlier vehicle fire. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continue next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast in our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center. Here's Steve Williams.
A few clouds this morning, maybe a shower or two, then partly sunny. The high today 72. Tonight partly cloudy though 50. Clouds and warm tomorrow, the high 78. Sun and clouds cooler on Sunday, the high Sunday 64. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
62 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I saw on Citizen Press, which is a good Twitter account to follow. I'll recommend that. This suggestion, let's play a game. If this happened on January 6th, what would have been the consequences when reviewing what's happening on college campuses and in the streets of urban centers as well? Totally. Well, there's an example of the compare-contrast, not just thinking about the video from January 6th versus the video from some of these college campuses, but also in courts of law. This is a judge in Seattle named Andrea Jarman. And you had about there were dozens of pro-Hamas protesters who were arrested for doing the same thing you saw in Chicago, blocking an expressway. Right. They were arrested for criminal trespass. They blocked the I-5 in Seattle for 4 hours. And this happened.
Judge Andrea Jarman sided with defense attorneys who disputed the charges of criminal trespass for 3 of the 6 defendants.
As to the charge of criminal trespass in the second degree, the court does not find probable cause.
The protest on January 6th was part of an action to show support for Palestinian people in Gaza. The group went onto the freeway in the early afternoon and stayed there until sundown. The State Patrol was ready to make arrests, but waited out the protesters who left on their own. Investigators relied heavily on digital evidence in their investigation into who was on the freeway that day, referring 12 people to prosecutors. While only 6 have been charged so far, the investigation remains active. Just real quick, what do you think about the allegations here in court?
No comment.
Charges were dismissed.
Of course. All those that, stop traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge, all taken into custody, all released within an hour.
So, right. So, 1, they didn't make arrests on the spot when they could have.
Right.
2 is they used video evidence to bring charges against individuals that are on tape committing the crime of criminal trespass in this case. Just the same way that they did with January 6th protesters who became unruly and committed a crime, criminal trespass, criminal damage to property, whatever the crime may be. Or may not be in some cases, but that was the technique that federal law enforcement and prosecutors used on January 6th. But that does not apply if you shut down the I-5 in Seattle or you shut down the entrance to O'Hare in Chicago. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
And it's not if, it's when it's going to happen again.
Well, of course, the precedent's been set, and the lack of consequences, just as with previous instances of this, sends a clear message about how things will be handled by local authorities, local and state authorities in some cases.
But it looked like it was, they would call it an insurrection at Columbia. What they did to that building, bashed windows, illegal entry, took chairs and barricaded themselves in. And why aren't they being treated the same way? Because it's not the politician's office. It's not their home. I mean, I don't know why it's different rules for different people.
Yeah, based on your beliefs.
Yeah.
Based on who you're representing with your conduct, regardless of what the conduct is. If you're representing the right people, you're representing the oppressed in their parlance, then anything goes. Bill, Cape Coral, Florida.
Yeah, they're giving judges too much power and discretion on sentencing. Every statute on the books has a sentencing phrase in it that says punishable by so much money or so much time in jail. And then they started coming up with this so-called punishments where these kids have to wear a sign, walk around the neighborhood saying, I have to pick up papers. There's nothing like that in the statute. So that's when they started letting them come up with these crazy sentences. If the guy's found guilty, the sentence is in the statute. So they have to sentence him within them guidelines. They're giving them way too much power.
Well, yeah, thanks for the call, Bill. But we didn't even get to sentencing in Seattle. The case was dismissed.
No, right.
The charges were dismissed.
And these UCLA kids, the same thing's going to happen. Part of their punishment should be go back to the encampment and pick up your darn garbage. Did you see that? I mean, if they're environmentalists, they're so worried about Mother Earth, then start with picking up your stuff and your trash. And all those buildings they tagged, I mean, it's just despicable.
Yeah. Nick Shirley has been doing some man on the street stuff, young dude doing some man on the street stuff at these college campuses, asking, the model Hamas protesters if they have any clue what they're doing or why they're doing it. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of fun. I think you probably will not be surprised by the quality of the answers, but again, it's just more evidence for the record of the quality of the undergrads at our elite universities. Not all, but a lot. How any of these kids could get into schools where there is 3%, 4%, 5% acceptance rates is depressing.
Why are you guys protesting today?
I don't think it would be a good idea if we...
Why are you guys protesting?
Just to be a part of the cause.
And what's the cause?
Yeah, I'm not the right person to talk to either.
It's not our job to talk. We're just here to support. We're not the spokespeople of this event. This is the wrong people to talk to.
I'm not asking for the spokesperson. I'm just asking why you guys are protesting.
This is.
Even though we would call the police if we're in trouble, the police are a repressive system. They do not do any good for any community. They are not stopping crime. Police arrive after crime has been committed. We fund the police as if they solve all the community's problems. We should defund the police and put that money towards community resources like mental health, drug addiction rehabilitation, schools, community programs, and it would keep people out of committing crimes. The cops, all they do is try to get as many brown and black people into the prison system because mass incarceration these days is really just modern day slavery. So even if I might call the cops if I need help, the cops, the police, the way that system runs. The police do more bad than they do good.
Keep talking.
You would call them if you needed help.
Yes.
So why are you guys protesting today?
I don't want to talk to press, I'm sorry. I don't want to talk
They don't really want to talk. Why are you guys protesting here today?
I don't want to do this, sorry.
We're asking people why they are protesting here today.
Because I want to see empire fall.
What empire?
From the U.S. to Israel. The empire that's propped up by capitalism.
And
free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan, free Haiti, free Hawaii, free Puerto Rico, liberation
Puerto Rico
for all.
are my people.
why are they giving out masks right now? Are they trying to cover everyone's faces? And why do you guys have the mask on right now?
Because, there's a police state, basically, in New York. There are CCTV cameras littered all throughout, and
it's part of it.
Fordham admin see me at this protest with my face or my tattoos, which I've been trying to hide. I have very visible tattoos. They have the ability to recognize me and suspend me from the university for speaking out against the apartheid state of Israel.
Okay. And if they do not divest, will you guys be willing to drop out of this university?
Well, that's the issue, is that I am here for a better education, and if I don't receive this education, in some ways I feel like I'm not doing my duty to the world by bettering myself and bettering
Thank you for being born.
my knowledge about
I'm gonna write his mom's a
injustices
Mother
throughout
Day
the
card.
world.
And what percentage of the
guys are
students do you
great.
believe actually know why they're protesting?
100%.
100%.
Maybe 90 at the lowest.
Do you know why you are protesting here today?
Yes.
And what is that reason?
No comment.
Why can only the organizers speak about what's going on here?
No comment.
Why not?
No comment.
We will not stop, we will not rest, it's closed! Divest! We will not stop, we will not rest, it's closed! Divest!
What would you like them to divest from?
Oh,
I could listen to that all morning. They're just so delightful. And the ones that talk the most are doing the greatest public service, just like that young man who he should, you would think, that would, if they don't divest, Columbia City College in New York, wherever that was, doesn't matter, it's all the same, that I would leave. But that's just what they want me to do. And I'm not falling into that trap. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to go to school here if I'm not expelled, and who's going to expel me?
Well, did you see what they did yesterday at DePaul and University of Chicago's encampment? The little kiddies, the little snot-nosed kids, put up signs, no media allowed, and we're not talking to the media today.
Yeah, right.
No, how are we going to survive?
Well, that was the great irony we noted earlier in the week when at Columbia, the institution that awards Pulitzer Prizes, closed the campus to the press. Perfect. Lee and Hammond, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys, in our little community here about 16, 17 years ago, we had we got hit with a law that hit us with massive increases in property taxes, and the so-called grassroots organizations pop up to protest this. Come to find out, some of these organizers were communist organizers from Ireland, other places overseas. They got involved with a little protest locally here, so what's going on in these college campuses, these courts need to address this as organized crime, because that's what it is. And unless they get serious with this stuff, it isn't going to get any better on its own.
Thanks for the call, Lee. By the way, Lee, just a recommendation, Lee. You better stop that dog from barking in the background. Amy's got a bit of an itchy trigger finger when it comes to unruly dogs.
We're going to the gravel pit.
Yeah.
We got 3 of them there. It's hard to tell which one it is.
She'll take them all out. She kills them all and lets God sort them out. Thanks for the call, Lee. Appreciate it. Well, this is part of the issue. Is half of the arrests made at Columbia, it was reported, were not Columbia undergrads, and so on and so forth. And that's somewhat interesting. We know, of course, that the outside agitators. I mean, these uniform tents and pre-made signs didn't come from nowhere.
No, and college kids aren't going to organize like that. I mean, that came from somebody with money.
No, that's not true. But let's recall that we have chapters of Students for Justice in Palestine that have been on campus for generations and are funded with outside money, as probably in some campuses with activity fee money. I'm sure that's the case at Northwestern. So it's a combination of the two. But the point is to understand sort of the infrastructure, but it's not to dismiss like, oh, these college kids don't know what they're doing. They're just being manipulated by outside agitators. No, there's outside agitators that are bringing more lift to the inside agitators. A lot of, as you just heard from our friend Nick Shirley's Man on the Street interviews, or Man at the Model Hamas protest interviews, there are all sorts of people, useful idiots at these protests who know nothing about anything. I'm here to support the cause.
Yeah, what's the cause?
It's just that, but that's perfect. It is the cause. Whatever the cause du jour is, I'm here to support it because that's where people are, and it's fun, and we're chanting, and we're clapping, and we're sticking it to the man, and we're being rebellious, and so forth. It gives my life meaning. It gives me something to do. There's all sorts of that, but make no mistake, this is a rolling process that has been ongoing for at least 60 years on college campuses, and this is train the trainer. And it's not just outside agitators, members of the Communist Party or pro-Islamist terrorist organizations and so forth. It's the professorate now. Let's remember the continuum here. The professorate, the administrations. Let's not lose focus on the adults who are ostensibly in charge of these institutions and what their posture has been, and what their rhetoric has been, and what their behavior has been. I mean, did you see that collection of Fordham professors?
Oh, my goodness.
The Wisconsin professor who got arrested. I mean, we've prior to the last couple of weeks, we've brought you professors from around the country at many universities that have been pitching the same vile sewage that you're hearing from these professional and amateur agitators on campus. Lincoln and Morris here in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys, love your show, by the way.
Thank you.
When I was a college kid in Southern Illinois in the 80s, and some group was coming to campus and asked our radio station to help with power in a state, help them out. So I go to see what they're doing, and they got their school bus out there and the band's playing, and then they roll a banner out that says, "Cut Reagan's arms off." So I'm like, I don't even understand what that is.
Oh, my gosh.
And so later in life, I'm a Republican and conservative. My parents were. And I think these kids will grow up and learn, whatever they're doing out there, they were absolute idiots.
Yeah, some of them will. It's true. Thanks for the call, Lincoln. Some of them will. They should be.
Others are all in.
Yeah, there's no question. Even those who will regret their conduct, that's not good enough. If you want to stop this cycle, then you have to act in a way that discourages people from being useful idiots, that persuades people to take a look before they jump. And we're just not doing that. I mean, but this is, like I said, too, so we're focused on the kids and even some of the outside agitators, young people mainly. But what about all of these buttoned-down intellectuals, the university presidents and the administrative leadership, as well as the professors? We talked earlier in the show about, why aren't we hearing from celebrities on this? Why do we have to, why is all this outsourced to some bros in Chapel Hill to make any sense and to stand up against the mob? But why aren't we hearing from more professors, particularly professors who aren't Jewish on college campuses, university presidents? We don't hear much from them. We hear they have negotiation teams. That's about it. Jack in Northwest Indiana.
Hi, guys. I've long thought, even before this event occurred, that much like Israel, I think having kids graduate high school and spend 1 year in the military, and if you object to the military, then some type of service, because what you have here are several generations of incredibly coddled kids who are clueless. And as you said, Dan, stick it to the man. I wonder how many of them would stick it to the man if they had to spend a year in the military and actually go overseas and be part of what's happening with Hamas. I suspect they'd coddle and cry for mommy.
Thanks for the call, Jack.
And
they're crying over missing finals. You put them in theater? Yeah. Right.
But imagine, we have to pay off some of these student loans for these people with our tax dollars. That does not sit well with a lot of Americans.
Yeah, I know that's an idea that's been bandied about before, a year of military service. I'm thinking at this stage more how about a year in solitary at Gitmo? And then come back and we'll see if you're ready to re-enter civilized society. I'm being facetious.
Yes.
Sort of. Kind of. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one. Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
All right. Were you checking your basement, your crawl space during that massive quick burst of rain that we got yesterday? If so, you need to call our good friends at Permaseal. They can come over and give you a free estimate. You don't have to live like that because guess what? That smell after it rains and you get water in your basement, eventually that's going to get up into your living quarters, and that's not good. Call our good friends at Permaseal. They've been a trusted name for over 40 years. They have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. So don't be scared to call and be proactive. Do it. 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325, or online at permaseal.net.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Frank Vance, co-owner of Egan Vance Insurance Agency on Chicago's Northwest Side and a customer of Signature Bank. In my line of work, we pride ourselves on being there for our clients when they need it the most, and we recognize when someone does the same for us. As Egan Vance was expanding, we wanted to buy a much sought-after building in the neighborhood. We couldn't waste any time. I called Signature Bank, and that was all it took. I didn't have to talk to multiple people in silo departments with multiple forms to fill out. One call did it all. As the one who was always looking out for my clients, it was a great change to know that my bank, Signature Bank, was looking out for me.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Somebody texted me that they didn't understand the itchy trigger finger reference I made to you, Amy, with respect to Lee from Hammond's dogs. That they don't understand. I thought Amy liked dogs. Well,
I do. I like dogs that behave.
Let me tell you something about Amy that we just found out yesterday. So this is still fresh news. You've heard of Dog the Bounty Hunter? So Amy is a bounty hunter of dogs, and she and South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem are going out like Thelma and Louise when it comes to canines who misbehave.
Well, I had a dog that I don't own it. Do I have to relitigate my position? I just understand why she did what she did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wouldn't have written about it in a book. Probably I wouldn't have. I know that I would never have the ability to actually shoot a dog in the face with a weapon, but I would hand it over to a veterinarian to do the dirty work.
Next time I have a day off, Michael Vick will be sitting in for me, and you'll get more detail on this philosophy from Amy and Mr. Vick. Coming up at 7:37, we're going to talk to a sophomore at Yale who is the editor-in-chief of the Yale Free Press, Sahar Tartak, who was stabbed in the eye by these genteel, mostly peaceful protesters. That's 7:37.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
7:32, Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer. President Biden speaking out against protesters using hate speech and violence.
Let me be clear. Peaceful protest in America. Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is. It's against the law when violence occurs. Destroying property is not a peaceful protest.
And the Manhattan District Attorney's Office this morning is confirming that an officer did fire a shot while police were clearing protesters out of Columbia University's Hamilton Hall. Tensions continue to rise on some college campuses across the country, including at the University of North Carolina, where Haley is a student.
It has been very challenging just to even be able to study. Like, I've had 3 different times where I was either taking a midterm or doing a presentation, and outside of the building, there were bullhorns just shouting, Free Palestine.
Haley and some other students held up their own American flag as a counter-protest. They were pelted by water bottles, sticks, and other projectiles. The captain of a California boat will spend the next 4 years behind bars over a fatal fire on his boat. Jerry Boylan was sentenced on Thursday, responsible for a deadly fire that claimed the lives of 33. Fierceness is the favorite at 5-2 odds at Saturday's 150th running of the Kentucky Derby from Churchill Downs. But here's a word of warning, not from me, but from Eddie Olczyk. Horse racing fan, handicapper. He's done just about all, including a member of the Chicago Blackhawks and a longtime NHL broadcaster. You may recall last year Olczyk was telling everyone to bet on the horse Mage. However, when it came time for the final picks on NBC's coverage, Olczyk went with Verifying. Mage won. Verifying finished 16th. Don't do what Eddie did. 79-year-old woman has died after an apartment fire in the Rogers Park neighborhood Thursday night. Chicago police tell us this morning that a woman was found in the basement of that building, rushed to St. Francis Hospital, later pronounced dead. Chicago police will be meeting with reporters today discussing the capture and charges of the man accused of the murder of CPD officer Luis Huesca. Xavier Tate Jr. was arrested Wednesday by members of a U.S. Marshals task force in Glendale Heights. An elderly Missouri man is in custody for a cold case homicide from nearly 60 years ago in Calumet City. 79-year-old James Barbier is charged with first-degree murder in the 1966 stabbing death of 18-year-old Karen Snyder. Her daughter is Paula Larson.
And I didn't stop looking at him. I felt no remorse for him. I do not feel bad. I feel that you have lived your life 57 years free. I don't feel bad for him.
Police say they reopened the case in 2022. The investigation led them to Barbier, a family friend who had worked with Snyder's husband. He was arrested Monday in Missouri. Cubs lost to the Mets 7-6 in 11 at Citi Field. Hayden Wesneski goes to the mound against the Brewers this afternoon. White Sox are in St. Louis. They'll take on the Cardinals at Busch. The news, a service of Croscom Public Adjusters. Handling an insurance claim for your home and business is difficult. Croscom will help you maximize your claim and get what you need. They've helped thousands. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager isn't sure how people vote Democrat.
Has the left given us a non-binary term for mother? My parent, I guess that's it. They're against mother and father. I have read that to you on a number of occasions. And people still vote Democrat. The tragedy is that if the country is destroyed from within, a vast number of good people are going to be hurt.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Can peace of mind fit into just 3 fruits and 3 veggie supplements? Yes. We start by sourcing the best fruit and vegetable ingredients. We ensure that all our produce meets our rigorous standards in order to give you the highest quality product possible. They are then washed, cut, and put through an advanced vacuum cold process that removes the water using pressure. We then take great care in grinding them into a fine powder. These powdered ingredients are then mixed and encapsulated, locking out air and moisture. The capsules are then bottled and shipped right to your door so you can experience your own personal Balance of Nature success story.
I've looked at other supplements out there, and they don't have what Balance of Nature has.
Balance of Nature really was the game changer. I'm serious, it works.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Don't pay retail for your diamond engagement ring or gift. Come to CleanOrigin.com.
7:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, Kennedy 1 hour, O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. I-55, an accident in the cleanup stages between US 30 and Renwick Road. I-57 stop and go into the Ryan merge. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, lots of jam-ups, but northbound, especially heavy Soldier Field up to Monroe. I-80 still a mess, westbound between Cherry Hill and Larkin due to a much earlier vehicle fire. There's a right lane blocked. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. In our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center, couple of morning showers. Otherwise, clouds give way to sunshine. High 72. Right now, cloudy and 62. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It only took hundreds of arrests and dozens of college campuses becoming no-go zones for Jewish students for the big guy, Mr. 10%, President Biden, to finally be moved to offer a statement. This was it.
Both must be upheld. We are not an authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent. The American people are heard. In fact, peaceful protest is in the best tradition of how Americans respond to consequential issues. But, neither are we a lawless country. We are a civil society, and order must prevail. Throughout our history, we've often faced moments like this because we are a big, diverse, free-thinking, and freedom-loving nation. In moments like this, there are always those who rush in to score political points. But this isn't a moment for politics. It's a moment for clarity.
Yeah, and there's your clarity. Sahar Tartak, she is a sophomore at Yale. She's a student leader for the Chabad there, and she's editor-in-chief of Yale, the Yale Free Press. She joins us now. Sahar Tartak, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Are you impressed with the words of the president?
Oh, I think he's in a tough position, but I will say that these protesters are not freedom loving.
Well, tell us about what they are, as you've witnessed on your campus there at Yale.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's all about not only the destruction of Israel, but like the destruction of the West writ large. Just a couple nights ago, my visibly Jewish Hasidic friend got called out by a protest attendee at Yale, and she said to him, "The U.S. is a terrorist state," and this is on video. The protesters at Yale and at a bunch of other schools have been saying things like "Ilamaya, Ilamaya, Philistina, Arabaya," from water to water or from the river to the sea. Palestine is Arab. And that's certainly not democratic. It's a matter of the ethnic cleansing of Jews in the region. Not to mention all of the violence that's been happening at these protests, including a physical assault that happened to me, after which protest organizers protected the guy that assaulted me and blockaded me physically from confronting him.
What happened? What happened to you?
Sure. So I showed up to one of these rallies with a friend of mine, the same Hasidic friend, to record, and we were immediately profiled by protest organizers as Jews, and they stood in a line and linked arms to each other and blockaded both of us. Eventually, he and I got separated, and so we each had our individual blockades that were assigned to us and that were following us throughout the protest, standing in front of us and not letting us walk. And my blockade ended up cornering me between the blockade and the other 500 protesters who had encircled me and were running around me while protesting, and began to join in on the taunting, harassment, and accosting, waving things in my face, flashlights, keffiyehs, their middle finger, until one of them waved his Palestinian flag in my face and then jabbed me with it in my left eye. And when I tried to run after him, these same protest organizers that had been blockading me and taunting me blockaded me again so that I could not run after him.
Did you fear for your life?
Yeah, they want you dead, so why shouldn't they execute that desire? And they're explicit about it, right? Like, Globalize the Intifada is an explicit call for the global, genocide against Jewish people.
And I just want to take a step back for a second. What was campus life like at Yale before October 7th? How were you treated by some of the same people that you probably recognize from campus before October 7th?
Largely fine. I mean, it's just a matter of when you out yourself as a Jew that believes in your own right to live is when you get in trouble with them. I have a bunch of friends that I disagree with politically on multiple issues. After this, they just stopped making eye contact with me in the halls and on campus when I say hello to them. And it's so interesting because they don't address other issues this way. But when it becomes a question of what's going on with Israel and also Israel and America, it's over. I mean, these people tore down the American flag a couple weeks ago while cheering "Viva, Viva, Philistina."
Yeah, it's just so it's really interesting that part about what. And the people that, like your former friends with whom you disagree politically, that now avert their eyes in shame when they see you. I mean, they may not say it's shame, but that's what it is.
Right.
And so, are they part of the protesting, or are they just the the innocent bystanders, the appeasers who don't want to get involved.
No, these are the students that are involved.
They are
by
involved.
the way, like a lot of the school is involved.
Mhm.
I see posts about these protests, supporting the protests, on like the undergraduate student social media forum, and we're talking like a third of the university, more than a third, actually liking these posts. So people really like this is one of the most popular causes I've ever seen on campus.
Well,
Ever.
have you thought about filing charges against the man who stabbed you in the eye? Is he been arrested or what happened?
He's fully anonymized, excuse me, and so is everybody at these protests. Because the method here, and this is the method that happens everywhere, is you wear a keffiyeh, you cover your face. Everybody wears a keffiyeh and covers their face, and so everybody becomes nobody, and everybody becomes immune. And this is how you allow for an environment of violence and assault. And then, when an assault happens, you announce that it was not your organized leadership, but rather someone, quote, unaffiliated. And this is exactly how everybody becomes nobody and everybody becomes immune. If everybody who commits an act of assault or yells for genocide is, quote, unaffiliated, then you're not responsible for your own protest.
Well, are you thinking about any civil rights violations, filing any of that? Because clearly that's happening, not just to you, but to other Jewish students and campuses across the country.
Yeah, I mean, there are absolutely Title VI violations going on here left and right. The rules are just not being enforced against these students in a way that they would be enforced against other groups. I mean, we've seen that Yale does issue political opinionated statements and take political opinionated action on a lot of heated issues.
So, speaking of Yale at the leadership level, what about conversations with professors? Maybe administration officials. What are those groups doing, if anything?
So it sort of depends, right? Like there's a group of pro-Israel / pro-America professors that like took a solidarity trip to Israel over spring break. And they're great, but it's also a small group, right? That's like 20 or so professors. Meanwhile, you have more professors involved with faculty for justice in Palestine, or professors signing onto petitions that what goes on at these rallies is free speech. And those students that call for genocide, not just call for genocide, but also assault other students, intimidate, blockade, harass, accost, that they need to be protected by the university. And the administration cowers to them. I mean, admin is just not taking a serious stance here. And that's why every time they begin to shut down a rally, first, obviously, after giving it 3 days of like free reign and an encampment, finally, when they begin to shut it down, the kids come back the next day. This has already happened, and we've seen it happen. And it's because they know that they won't face serious repercussions.
Yeah, it's happening at University of Wisconsin-Madison. They tore down the encampment, and then boom, they went back and set it straight back up again. So are you going to stay at Yale, or do you feel safe there?
No, to be honest, I don't. But I don't think I have any other choice. If I'm one of the few students here willing to speak out against this, then what would it be doing to my Jewish peers and also to America in general to leave? This is a university that provides us with a tremendous opportunity to be serious and good leaders. And if we leave that to the students that don't really think this country or our allies in the Middle East should exist, we're in big trouble.
Yeah, well said. You wrote a piece in the Free Press about what's happening at Yale, including the incident in which you were assaulted. And you made mention of something that I think needs more discussion, too, just in terms of sort of your personal background. Your mom emigrated here from Iran?
Yeah, she did. And I'm not the only person that drew the comparison. So when she was in Iran, there was a very popular habit among her Muslim neighbors of throwing rocks at people. And this was just common in the Middle East in general. And so somebody threw a rock in her left eye, and she has, is it her left eye? Someone threw a rock in her eye, and she has stitches to this day. It's such a crazy parallel. And I have other friends who are from, and their families are from Iran. And they know what, dictatorship looks like. And what anti-democratic movements look like, and it looks like this. And that's what's so scary about it. Death to America, death to Israel is nothing new. I have a friend that grew up in Iran, and every day he would walk into school, and on the floor of the school, there were 2 flags, Israeli and American, so that you could step on them on the way in. And he grew up learning to deny the Holocaust. And then here at Yale, we have students, distributing flyers that say that Zionists were partially responsible for the Holocaust, or that one genocide does not justify another, as if to say that to this day, Jews use the Holocaust as an excuse to repeat the same thing against Palestinians, which is, of course, false, absurd, and minimizes the Holocaust itself, of which many of my relatives were killed.
Alumni. Is there any? I haven't seen really in the larger press. Has there been any alumni pushback? Notable alumni from Yale that are, inveighing on what's going on?
Again, not so much, and the reason why is because the school is not fully honest with their alumni about how much they're failing. They claim, "Hey, look, we're better than Columbia. We're better than."
There's a standard.
They're really not. They're really not, and the bar is very low. And so they set that bar, and the alumni think, "Oh my gosh, the school must be doing great," and that's how everybody gets tricked into doing nothing.
Sahar Tartak. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know I said they're being duped.
They're being duped, but I mean, at some point, you have to be willfully blind not to see what's happening. You don't have to be on campus to appreciate what's happening, right?
That's you.
Sahar Tartak is a sophomore at Yale, student leader for the Chabad there, editor-in-chief of the Yale Free Press as well. Sahar, thanks so much for joining us, and take care of yourself, obviously, and good for you for standing up against this hateful mob on campus there.
Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Recent events have reminded us how fragile the stock market and your life savings can be. What would happen to you if you lost 30, 40, 50% or more in the market? It could likely destroy your quality of life and impact your plans for the future. Let this be a wake-up call to sit down and review your financial situation. Take control of your future today and call Wealth Management Group 833-WMG-PLAN or visit investwithwmg.com. All investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
At Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, we honor traditions, celebrate faith, and cherish memories. Take an active role in establishing your legacy for future generations by pre-planning your final arrangements today. Alleviate your loved ones of future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of interest-free financing and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
All right, I found out who purchased Dan's foursome.
Who is it?
Midwest Performance Cars.
Oh, my friend Andy Bizzup. Oh, it's good. I'm glad he's going to be in town.
Oh, you've got fancy friends who have
Fancy
lots
cars.
of money with fancy cars.
Well, you might as well. I mean, everybody else is playing for second place now.
Oh.
I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
He's probably bringing his son, who's a good player. His oldest.
You guys, that's not fair.
Yeah, well.
What about we play by the rules pack, but not when it comes to golf?
What are you talking about? You can't have good players playing a golf outing?
No, I know. This is all on the up and up. But guess who's still available? This guy. I mean, this girl right here. Sean Thompson's been bought by, I don't know.
That's going to be a long afternoon. That's going to be a long afternoon for whoever's in that foursome.
Well, our golf tournament is Wednesday, June 19th at the McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington, where we had it last year. A very beautiful course.
Why don't you get your gal pal Marian Ahern to pony up?
Oh, do you think she did? I don't know.
Yeah, you, Marian Ahern, John Garcia.
Carol Marine golfs. Carol Marine's a
Oh, perfect.
Golfer.
Yeah.
She learned how to play golf so that she could spend time with her sons, and I thought, you know what, that's a good mom there.
Yeah. Okay. You, the Bouvier sisters, and John Garcia. There's your foursome.
Okay.
Put it together.
All right. Well, the proceeds go to help Tunnel to Towers Foundation. The sponsor is Signature Bank. And really, Tunnel to Towers is a great organization. They help provide for first responders, military heroes, including our homeless vets, which is so important right now. So we have foursomes, twosomes available. And when you join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, which includes meals, prizes for the winning foursome, a silent auction. And if you own a business or run the marketing for a business, you can purchase a foursome and we'll give you a marketing package, which includes 25 one-minute commercials. Best deal in broadcasting in the city of Chicago, trust me. And also, Team Amy is still available. I'm not the best golfer, but you will use some of my strokes, I can tell you that, because I have the advantage with my tee box being closer to the pin. What else is good about me? I've got a wonderful disposition.
Oh boy, you really have to sell yourself. You always you always have snappy ensembles like your shoes, your golf shoes are color coordinated with your golf shirt and that kind of thing. Yeah.
And I'm just a good person. You're gonna have a really.
I'm just a good person. Please buy me.
Seriously, can
It's not
somebody
pathetic.
honestly pick me up? All right, Ron, we'll have 5 people in our foursome, so it's an extra shot. Come on.
Mhm.
It's for a good cause. It's Tunnel to Towers, and I could stop selling myself on the air if you know.
I hope Marianne is listening.
560theanswer.com/golf is where you go to sign up. 560theanswer.com/golf. We will see you Wednesday, June 19th at the McRae Memorial Golf Club.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
My name is Dr. Zhang. I'm a doctor of podiatric medicine.
My name is Todd. I'm a paramedic firefighter. I've been on the job for 28 years.
My name is Dr. Peter Munda. I'm a chiropractor in New York, Long Island.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for 23 years.
I love Balance of Nature, and this is definitely a product that I would recommend to other people, and I'll never stop taking it.
How many 70-year-old pitchers you know? As far as Balance of Nature goes, I'll keep taking this stuff until the day I die, you know?
I'm almost 55 years old, and because I have so much vitality, I can really enjoy the great outdoors. Our bodies are kind of like machines. If you do not give the machine the proper nutrition, it's not going to work very well. Simple as that.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. What Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg is doing in Manhattan in his contrived case against Donald Trump is appalling, and it will get worse before it gets better in terms of interference with the campaign in a trial that should never have been begun, much less continued into the stretch run of the presidential campaign. We are watching a show trial, and everyone knows it. I expect a spectacular backlash from this abuse of the criminal law. Most Americans have due process in their bones, and they know Trump is not getting due process. They see the permanent government putting its thumb on the scale, or in this case, its entire fist on the scale. Pray the rebuke Democrats receive in November is enough to reset the party back somewhere close to where the old school liberals live. We don't need a two-party system where one party has lost its commitment to the rule of law and to our ally Israel. Democrats have abandoned them both. The reckoning is coming. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The April jobs number is out. Looks like the labor market is cooling a bit. We'll discuss the implications with our friend Jim Perry at 8:08.
And we have the wrong black man. We'll explain, but now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
A coalition suing the city of Chicago over DNC protest. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
A slowdown in hiring, a tick up in unemployment. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and a report that's just out this morning.
There were fewer new jobs created in April than forecast. The Labor Department says the economy added 175,000 new jobs last month, a 5-month low. The unemployment rate rose to 3.9%.
Fox's Ginny Casola, despite the hiring slowdown, a surge is brewing at the stock market. Dow futures up nearly 500 points. Former President Trump just posted on Truth Social those job numbers are horrible. He'll soon be in court for more testimony at his first criminal trial. He keeps calling it persecution. The day after the jury heard a recording of Trump and lawyer Michael Cohen discussing a payment to Karen McDougal to keep her quiet about an alleged affair before the 2016 election.
The former president first told Cohen to pay with cash. Then he tells him to use a check. That's really important because the defense will certainly point out that, a check leaves a record of the transaction, showing in Mr. Trump's mind that there was nothing illegal or wrong about what they say was just a typical installment standard non-disclosure agreement with McDougal.
Fox's Eric Shawn outside the court. The former president's not charged in that payment. He is charged with falsifying records and payments to keep Stormy Daniels quiet about their alleged affair. Yet another pro-Palestinian encampment broken up. That's at New York University, where police showed up 3 hours ago in Manhattan.
They're now starting to clear out the encampment here. They've made really quick work of this. The tents are all completely gone. They're now sweeping and collecting all of the items that are there.
Fox Business Network's Madison Allworth at NYU. 56 arrests reported there and at the new school, where an encampment was also cleared nearby. The Biden administration is doing more for so-called dreamers. Immigrants brought to the U.S. illegally as children and shielded from deportation under the Obama-era DACA program. They'll be allowed to enroll in Obamacare next year for health care coverage. America's listening to Fox News.
It's 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Police Department will be meeting with reporters today. They'll be discussing the capture and nature of the charges against the man accused of murdering CPD officer Luis Huesca. Cook County judge last week issued an arrest warrant for Xavier Tate Jr., who was nabbed Wednesday by members of a U.S. Marshals task force in Glendale Heights. A coalition of groups is suing the city of Chicago over the right to march ahead of the Democrat National Convention. They're led by Rebecca Glenberg with the ACLU.
So the city has cited, not having enough resources during the convention to ameliorate any traffic disruptions, and they've talked about not having sufficient law enforcement. This is one of the reasons that it's clear that the permit denial is so clearly unconstitutional.
The group filed that federal lawsuit claiming the city wrongfully denied the permits. A 6-year-old girl is among 3 people dead following a crash in Fort Heights. Authorities say 2 cars collided Wednesday night near Lincoln Highway and Cottage Grove. Both drivers and a 6-year-old girl, Kimberla Tolliver, passed away. A 4-year-old was rushed to a nearby hospital. Cubs falter in the 11th in a 7-6 loss to the Mets at Citi Field. Northsiders take on the Brewers later this afternoon, while the White Sox take on the Cardinals at Busch. The news, a service of In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs, now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Apple shares are up 6%, though its quarter included softer iPhone sales. Apple's raising the dividend it pays shareholders and will buy back $110 billion worth of stock. The annual meeting of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's investment firm, is this weekend. Berkshire's been buying up Apple shares since 2016. Even though Apple shares lost ground recently, Berkshire's stake in Apple is estimated at about $157 billion, which may be the most money ever made by an investor or firm from a single stock. Daimler Truck's earnings and revenue both topped forecasts in the recent quarter, though its sales and production slowed. Wall Street reacts today to the monthly employment report for April. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
AM 560 News Time is 8:05. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum can see the trend.
All of this in an attempt to destroy Donald Trump's reputation and destroy him being the president of the United States of America. But it's not working, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the polls. Donald Trump is up. If the man is getting indicted 450,000 times and he's going up in the polls, that tell you that American people aren't buying the bull crap that they're throwing out. Joe Biden is a dead man walking. Everybody can see it. Everybody knows it. Your mama, your grandma, your cousin, them.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
You have to feel good. When you feel good, you look good. And when you look good, things happen. My name's Gary. I exercise almost every day. I'm more active than the average 71-year-old man. I started taking Balance of Nature, and I can feel the benefits from it. It's been a little bit of a revolutionary product for me. I stand behind the product. I stand behind what I say. Balance of Nature, it's a great product for me.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
It is 8:07. Let's get an update on the roads. As always, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, inbound Kennedy, a solid 61 from O'Hare into the Circle Interchange. Stevenson right now jammed solid with brake lights Harlem to Kedzie, 44 in to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Outbound on the Stevenson, you've got an accident. Car in the ditch reported between First Avenue and County Line. Traveling on the Veterans Memorial Toll this morning, northbound 355. Between Maple and I-88, you've got delays. I-80, that earlier incident with the semi-truck on fire that actually began around 2 a.m. It's finally been pulled out of your way. Westbounders on I-80 at Larkin are beginning to move normally this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. In our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center, here's Steve Williams.
Cloudy skies in the area this morning, along with a few showers. Sun and clouds for the afternoon. High today, 72. Partly cloudy tonight, low 50. Clouds and warm tomorrow, the high 78. Sun and clouds on Sunday, the high 64. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
61 degrees at O'Hare, 63 at Midway. And your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A woman on TikToker named Anna, who also goes by Creative Chronicles, had a really good post. Really good. She picked up on something that Jamie Dimon had to say on the Wall Street Journal's podcast and offered some commentary. It's good.
I hate to be all doomsday on this app, but America is dude. I was just listening to The Journal, which is a Wall Street Journal podcast, and they had Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of JP Morgan, which is the largest bank in America, on it. And within 2 minutes, my jaw was dropped at the shit he was saying. It is so fucking out of touch. And this is the largest bank in America. I had to stop and make this TikTok. Here you go.
As the chief exec of America's biggest bank, you have an unrivaled insight into the financial health of the U.S. consumer. What are people doing with their money right now?
Yeah, you have to look a little bit in context. The consumer's in pretty good shape right now.
The consumer has, unemployment's under 4%. It's been there for 2 years. They still have excess money from COVID. If you go back to looking at the amount of money that was spent during COVID, it was $6 trillion through various means and various programs. They're still spending it down. Housing prices are up, stock prices are up, jobs are plentiful.
I'm sorry, what? The stimulus checks, the ones that went out in 2020 and 2021, 3 and 4 years ago, we're still spending it down? Who is he talking about? People are not doing well. This country is literally unaffordable. Childcare, groceries. You've got colleagues out here telling us to eat cereal for dinner. Everything is up in price. Even for those who are making ends meet and are able to still save, we have to be conscious as to where you're putting your money because nothing is at a good price. What does he mean the consumer is doing well? Like, these are the biggest decision makers in our financial systems. These are the people who work with Congress and who are talking about how do we create like a soft landing of inflation. And he thinks we're doing okay. Like, guys, this is scary. I mean, it's been scary. Let's be real. No one's surprised.
For reaction to that commentary, please be joined by James Perry, founder, CE, and CIO of Perry International Capital Partners. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Thank you.
A bit of a disconnect between Jamie Dimon and young Anna there when it comes to how well the consumer is doing.
Precisely. I think that the consumer in the country is going to be led to slaughter here as the government continues to stimulate so that this debt-fueled economy can keep going for the stock market and for the government and for Wall Street. And the consumer, which is, the silent majority of people that have to deal with all of this inflation, food prices up 40% over since the pandemic, and gasoline prices are up 50%. This stuff's not going away. And the Fed seems to not really care about the plight of the average household,
You mentioned in one of your missives to your clients that the market liked what the Fed did this week, and essentially saying that we're not going to see the number of rate cuts that were initially anticipated. The handle is what maybe we get one rate cut this year, but the point is to say that they're holding serve because inflation is running hotter than they anticipated and they want. And they think by doing so that will reduce the possibility that it continues to run as hot as it is. Is that essentially the read? The market is fine with that because it provides some stability as opposed to taking the risk of a rate cut in the near term and and possibly fueling another spike in inflation.
Right. There's a lot of moving parts to that statement, and I'll just try to kind of break it down a little bit. If you look at the economy, debt really helps Wall Street, and it helps the stock market, and it helps the government. The problem with allowing inflation to run hot is that it's causing extreme volatility in the markets, because the Fed has really got kind of a conflicting message and conflicting response to things. We've got slowing growth, rising inflation, excessive indebtedness, and, surging deficit spending. So the economy, I'll give you a quick example. The Atlanta Fed does a GDP Now sort of forecast every kind of day when data comes out. So it's not really a forecast. It's just kind of a snapshot. But, right now, and we saw these numbers last week, real GDP is growing only at 1.6%, right? Which is not very high. But if you look at the bigger number, the average growth rate in the economy this year is running at 6.26%, right? So what that tells you is that real growth is at 1.6%, and the reason you're getting a higher number is because inflation is running at like 4.75%. You know, and economists measure inflation differently than people do. Economists look at like incremental little sort of quarterly and annual upticks. But the fact is, you know, inflation never goes down. It hasn't gone down for 20 years. It's still rising. So the idea that Powell says we're making good progress on inflation is really quite disingenuous. I mean, Fed policy is not restrictive. And he said it was the other day. It's highly stimulative, you know? And I think that only a Fed chairman can say that because he's working for the government, and the largest shareholder of the Fed is, back to your TikTok friend's little comments, you know, J.P. Morgan is the Fed's largest shareholder. So that's the crowd he's playing to.
And he also said we're not in a stagflationary environment, but we have slow growth and relatively high inflation that's increasing, as you just described. Isn't that the textbook definition of stagflation?
Yeah, when he said that the other day, and he started going on about I don't see the stag and I don't see the inflation, I just kind of went, well, let's see, 1.6% growth is kind of slow growth, and inflation running at 6.25% is high inflation. So I don't know, maybe he's comparing 1981, but, you know, on a percentage basis, the stagflation scenario is much sharper today than it was at the peak of the inflationary surge back in the early 80s. So I find it disingenuous at best.
So we had a relatively modest jobs number in April, 175,000 new jobs. And I know that's what Powell has wanted for a long time, is for the labor market to cool off. Is that now starting to happen? And what will that mean for wage growth? Because, of course, the reason that these the prices in the grocery store and the pump are so challenging for so many people is because their wages aren't keeping up with the price increases.
Right? Inflation is really only structural and systemic when you have wage inflation, and you do. Just slight backtrack here for a second. You know, 175,000 jobs is pretty good, really, considering that, you know, the Fed did move 11 times to 5.5%, and the economy has never really buckled under this. You know, we had some regional bank stuff, and there's some hedge funds going out of business, but, you know, by and large, the commercial real estate market's holding up remarkably well. Housing prices are at all-time highs, and this is an interest rate-sensitive sector of the economy, right? The most sensitive. Automobile sales, Wards came out, one of these sort of groups that follow vehicle sales. They're running at a rate of 15.75 million units a year. You know, this is almost back to pre-pandemic levels, and prices of cars are up 25 to 30%. So, you know, the interest rate-sensitive sectors of the economy have not gotten hurt like the Fed expected they would do. Now, back to the point on the jobs, you know, the recent data has really shown remarkable stability in the labor market. I mean, a year ago when the Fed got to 5.5%, the last Fed hike was in July of 2023, by the way, right? That's a long time ago. But when we got to 5.5% in Q2 and Q3 of last year, Powell and the Fed said they thought that the unemployment rate would be 4.5 to 5%, right? It's 3.9. It's been under 4% for something like 2 years, as Jamie Dimon said, right? So things are going well in the labor market, and job growth is still very, very strong. And that's because demand in the economy is strong. The Fed, you know, Jamie Dimon said $6 trillion. The Fed has spent, or the government, I should say, between the Treasury and the Fed, have basically printed $11 trillion worth of money. That money is flowing through the economy, and this is why demand continues to be high. The economy is still doing okay, but the people who are spending the money don't care about price increases as the people who are on fixed incomes and things, you know? So it's really a very bifurcated economy, and I think that, you know, the short little scenario today, the summary is that the strong jobs market has really made the Fed's job easier to stay right where they want to. And they're still printing money, you know? So, steady as she goes through the election because Washington wants the administration to stay in power.
Well, that means we should be bullish about about equities at least through this calendar year, then, right?
Yeah, I think, as I said in my little note after the Powell was speaking the other day, the stock market loves this. I mean, debt-fueled expansion is great. They love inflation. Wall Street loves inflation almost as much as the government does. And that's the crowd they're playing to right now, Dan.
Mm-hmm. The stories in the Wall Street Journal, you mentioned commercial real estate, and then you mentioned where home prices are. Let's talk about home prices for a little bit and corporate influence in home prices. The story in the Wall Street Journal this week about basically politicians starting to look at the accumulation of housing stock by big corporations, which is in part reducing supply and increasing price. It's part of the conversation. Right. Is that something these and then of course it draws in all of these ghouls like Klaus Schwab who don't believe that anyone other than them should own property. So, right. So what are we to understand about those big players that are gobbling up a lot of housing stock? What the impact is? What at present into the near term? What the play is there? Right.
These big guys like BlackRock and many others, Carlyle, KKR, many others, who have been allocating private equity capital toward housing stock. These guys are not stupid, right? They see what's going on. And, just to give you an example of that, the CEO of Lennar Home, right, was on TV 3 or 4 business days ago, maybe it was 5. And I listen to these guys because, you want to look at these sectors of the economy that are important. Housing, autos, retail, tech, all that kind of stuff. And he said they are very bullish for the next year, and they build new homes, right? So very bullish for the next year because there is a shortage of housing in this country, which is something like 2 to 3 million homes, right? So the BlackRocks of the world and these big private equity guys that are doing this, they're buying new homes, right? And the new homes are being offered to new buyers at discounts to the average market mortgage rates because they're getting points to get in with money early. So I think the housing market continues to stay strong. Owners of real estate are in no rush to sell. Some it's because they've got low mortgages, others because they say, hey, my house keeps going up in value, and the fact is I can rent it out if I have to, but where am I going to go? So I'll just stay here. The housing market's strong because there's a shortage of housing, and these big guys recognize that by building it out and offering it to new home buyers, they're going to make some money, and they're right.
Jim Perry, founder, CIO, Perry International Capital Partners. Jim, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Dan, thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson here. You know when you're at the mall and you go to those directory signs, the one that says you are here? Well, imagine that directory is a map of your preparation for retirement. Would you know where you are? My friend Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group is offering you the opportunity to not only find yourself on that map, but also find the route toward a successful retirement. He calls it his retirement roadmap. You'll get an analysis of where you are right now, whether you're at risk if the market drops again, whether you're taking advantage of the latest tax changes, and much, much more. To get an idea where you stand on the road to retirement, call my friend Tom Fortino at the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-934-1855. That's 630-934-1855. And ask for the retirement roadmap, or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And don't forget to listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560, The Answer at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion,
It's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Sebastian Gorka, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, followed by Stacey Washington at 5. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
AM 560, The Answer.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call in now! Open mic Friday!
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It's that time of the week, Open Mic Friday. Taking your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Comments, compliments, criticisms, concerns, general crack pottery. We will take it all, and we kick off this Open Mic Friday, as we always do, with turnkey.pro founder David Kolsak. David.
Good morning. How are you guys today?
Good.
Great.
So, first of all, it looks like the Ivy League education system has become an idiot factory. And I'm saying that Ivy League, but USC is now in the Big Ten, so that's a topic for another day. But even if your kid was qualified, capable, and of the right persuasion to be accepted to one of those institutions, I wouldn't send them. I wouldn't send one of my sons to an Ivy League school, first of all, because they couldn't get in, right? But secondly, because they would come back a different person than the one that I sent them as, and I don't think I'd like them that much. I think in a lot of cases, the more degrees someone has, the less in touch with reality they are, and that their common sense goes out the window with boatloads of money. Things like these protests make me question the whole idea of going to college in the first place. They're indoctrination camps that churn out wimpy simps and beta males who cower to the idea of hard work. But on the other hand, if you look at going away to college as an experience rather than an education alone, these types of situations frame themselves differently. I mean, mass protests at Ivy League schools is almost as exciting as any of them winning a national championship in basketball. I mean, a long time ago, my dad sat me down shortly before leaving to go to Purdue University, and he said, getting good grades is important, and attending classes is really important, but you're going to learn more from a kid in Kokomo, Indiana at 2 a.m. over a six-pack of beer and a pizza than you are at 10 a.m. in the morning from your professors. Right. So I took his advice, and I'm still friends with that kid from Kokomo. Hey, Mike. Right. I took that to heart and had a great experience. And I said the same thing to my son before he left for the very same university. So I don't think there are any major protests here at that school anyway, at Purdue. But he's having a great time and a good learning experience. But that's all I can ask for. I'm not asking for an education. I'm more asking for an experience. So for what it's worth.
Wait a second. Is your friend Mike still at Purdue? Is he ever going to graduate?
Yeah, he's out. He's out. He got out a couple years ago, I think.
All right.
He's a 40-year freshman. But so, for what it's worth, I don't think the incidents at these schools are entirely organic, right? We've talked about that this morning. I've heard that. But sure, there's some kids out there going to protest and not knowing what they're protesting. But you see a lot of the same types of people we've seen in different riot seasons, right? In former riot seasons. You see all these people who are not students. They're mixing it up and whipping up the crowds into a frenzy. And you're starting to see things to get under control a little bit, but I bet when football season starts, it'll definitely be over. But however, these events are familiar in behavior, right? I was living in Los Angeles when Rodney King, the Rodney King verdict came out, the riots broke out, and I saw firsthand what this kind of thing looks like. And it's really ugly and really scary. I left that city because of those riots, and I never looked back. Then we saw the same type of situation in Baltimore in 2015 when there was a reaction to Freddie Gray's death and the injustice that people felt. There was widespread violence and a similar inaction to it, to quell it anyway. And then fast forward to George Floyd and the rise of Black Lives Matter. That was the summer of love, and there were mostly peaceful protests that caused billions of dollars worth of property damage. Remember that? One could also lump in the January 6th events as something similar. It may start out as peaceful and well-intended, but professional agitators get paid to insert themselves into the protests and whip them up. We saw that on January 6th. This is a common denominator in all these violent situations, paid agitators. These agitators are paid by somebody, and frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they were sponsored by an NGO that was funded by our very tax dollars. In all of these cases, Baltimore, George Floyd, J6, and now today, they follow the same pattern. Seemingly, all the protests or riots or whatever you want to call them end with some policy that gets put into place to further restrict the rights of the people. or at minimum change how we look at things, or be admonished or discouraged from even thinking about participating. So today we've got such an ineffective group of lowlifes in Congress, they can't seem to stitch together anything for the American people, like an infrastructure bill or securing the border, but they can certainly come up with a bill to define and punish anyone who utters anything that's considered anti-Semitic. This is a slippery slope, as it's a direct attack on the First Amendment, and Republicans and Democrats alike seem to have this bill prepared already. They didn't even send that bill to committee to talk it through. Nope, just get it through, even if it means that it's illegal to read your Bible aloud in the near future. So, I wonder if some of those lawmakers went to one of those Ivy League schools. I bet that's for sure, right? And what's funny to me is the Ivy League schools and the like used to be a place where you literally say anything. Now it seems like the particular subject matter of these protests is the literal third rail on the track. You touch that rail and all bets are off. I think it's best to take some time these days and not react to what you see happening and think about the reasons behind what's happening. Why would George Soros fund these protests? What would be his motivation? Could it be this very bill right here that the House passed is that motivation? It's hard to see when this legislation gets passed so quickly not to be skeptical. Remember when they had the Patriot Act all ready to go just as the events of 9/11 unfolded? I'd like to see a more measured approach, like one that came from Bruce Lee. Remember Bruce Lee? He was a badass, but he was also very introspective. He said something like, you'll continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that's said to you. True power is sitting back and observing everything with logic. If words control you, that means everyone else can control you. Breathe and allow things to pass. The one thing that's for sure these days is that these Ivy League institutions have lost their luster very quickly, and some of these protesters are going to find a hard time finding jobs because the internet lives forever, and covering your face or not, you'll be held to account. You see big heads or heads of big business standing up against these protesters, and you know why? Because they touched the third rail.
All right, David. Thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Before you get off the phone, do you golf, David?
Oh gosh.
No, but I'm going to be at the outing. I
I'm
golf.
buy my foursome.
Can you buy
my
Dan,
foursome?
I'm having a private conversation with him right now on the radio. Why don't you pay to hang out with me?
Hole.
Yeah.
I'll
Why
be
don't
at the
you go
19th
to
hole.
all the holes with me and we'll get a foursome together and you could pay for my foursome.
Because I'm not good. I'm not good, and I get bored fast. That's my problem. I have attention deficit syndrome.
All right. Way to spin out of that one, David. Nicely done. All right. Thanks, David. Yeah, just keep begging. Maybe one of the callers. Maybe beg everybody who calls
I've got a lot
in.
of phone calls. Amy, I wish I could play golf and find a foursome, but sadly I lost my golf skills. Last time I played was 1998 with my 85-year-old father. Last time I played with him.
It's been a minute.
His game has deteriorated ever since.
Sad.
No,
Sad.
there's more.
I'm sure. More
somebody
excuses.
please text message. Somebody please buy Amy's foursome! ! I don't want to see her on an exit ramp off the Kennedy with a squeegee and Windex raising the money.
Yeah.
I can't. That's
that's a couple days away from that.
I know.
All right.
Do you have anything? Oh, I have.
Yeah,
we have the wrong black man.
Well,
Did you hear
we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But we have to frame
What?
the Open Mic Friday the way we framed the show at the outset this morning,
All right.
and that is with the UNC rager that's going to be thrown for these young honkies in Chapel Hill
I
who
want to go to that party.
stood up for the flag. But so I was, it's like it's sort of a low standard, but I know baby steps. But as I said at the outset, now I'm impressed because we've actually heard from one of them, and like that young lady we talked to from Yale, there are some smart, thoughtful, measured kids on these campuses too that do provide some hope for America, and one of these UNC guys is one of them right here.
I love America. I love that side of America. It's like we all just kind of connected our brains and stood there protecting one thing, and we all were like we all were looking at every direction. If stuff was flying in, we would say heads up. We would cover each other. We would look out for other people. We would swap. We had like for an hour, and our hands did hurt. Our arms did hurt. It was like an arm day for me that day. It was No gym happened that day afterwards. It was exhausting. I remember we were all standing in there, and I think I made a joke. I was like, "Oh, I don't know if it's a joke," but I was like, I'd die for this flag," and everybody was like, "Yeah, if they get any closer, we're gonna start throwing hands. Like we're not going anywhere. I don't care. They're gonna have to tear me off this flag like by my dead body, stuff like that." And that was, I'm smiling right now after such a insane day, but it's because it genuinely was hopeful. It was enjoyable to be in such an environment while doing what we think is right. People really took a lot of damage to protect that flag. And again, we were there for a really long time, all things considered. But it makes me feel very scared for the future of this country. It's good to see people still willing to put their bodies on the line, their mind and soul on the line to protect this flag. There are still patriots in this country that actually want to fight and would, sacrifice themselves for this flag, this country. And it's been missing a lot of the time, especially during this last administration. Has just been non-existent pretty much. That's why the photo is getting so many clicks and getting seen everywhere on every news site, because people want to see that. People want to see people not bending. Like, don't bend a knee to these people. They want you gone. They want to take over. They want to just destroy like what this country stands for. Bring their own twisted ideology into every orifice of this country, and don't let them do that. Don't let them do that. So take a stand. Be a man. Take a stand.
Well,
okay, I want him to run for office.
Yeah, love
honestly,
it.
I do.
He's got the tagline right there. Don't bend the knee, take a stand, be a man. Who says that anymore?
Him.
Love
That's
it. Love it.
If you even say that, even if you're coaching, like man up, you can't say things like that. That's, hate speech.
Right. Yeah.
Like, no, it's like man up. Do your job.
Let's take a couple calls, and we'll get to your BLM Brandon.
We have
George
breaking news on it.
Dan, I got a way that they could celebrate that young man and his brothers. Biden could host a party in the Senate. They could all wear togas. They could have liquor, food, no cocaine, though. Those guys seem like good guys.
Uh-huh.
And Biden could reenact U2 Brutus with Schumer.
There you go, George. Okay.
No, I don't think people party like that anymore, George. I would love to go to their frat party, though. That's got to be a blowout, or is it a destination frat party since they raise so much money?
Yeah.
My God, they could go to Hvar Island in Croatia. That'd be fun.
Well, this may turn out to be a national festival. That country singer John Rich, the guy who sings "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy," he's talking about doing a Flagstock concert. Flagstock.
Oh, really?
And I mean, I think they're well north of $400,000 GoFundMe so far. So
I just got the chills.
Who knows? It's going to be interesting. Bob, Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Always good talking to you. Let me offer tomorrow a sad, tragic anniversary 54 years ago. The war in Gaza is different than the war in Vietnam, but they share some commonalities of the major student protests. Today, I wonder how the current protests will continue, and will they escalate the civil disobedience and violence with, tragically, an outcome such as Kent State. I remember it well. I was in college. So for your listeners, remember what took place 54 years ago, Saturday.
Thanks for the call, Bob. Rick in Downers Grove.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Dan, I want your opinion. You've heard this. I was on Newsmax. I forgot the guest, but they were talking about the Democrats amongst themselves behind closed doors are conceding they're going to lose this presidential election, and so they're going to try to cause as much chaos and disturbances as they can between now and then in order to hamstring Trump when he takes over. It helps to spend so much time undoing the damage that they've done. I mean, have you heard anything like that?
Well, not. Thanks for the call, Rick. I mean, not exactly. I mean, I think what you're seeing is just attendant to the new Marxists. This is just what they do, as Kolsak went through. I mean, think of the other seasons of rage that we've been through. It seems like there's a different cause du jour that fuels the rage and the chaos every spring. So, I mean, you do so much damage that Trump will have to. He'll be hamstrung. I mean, what does that mean? What does that look like? He's going to be hamstrung because of the damage they do or attempt to do when he's elected through the courts, in the streets. We've said before, there's going to be violence. I'm not rooting for it. I'm suggesting that is going to come because, well, look at who we're dealing with. You see it on college campuses right now, in streets of major cities right now. So, of course, there's going to be efforts to hamstring him, which is why those congressional elections are so important, and workable, conservative, reform-oriented majorities are so important because if there is any angle they can take to stop what he wants to do with respect to the border, with respect to civil service, with respect to tax and spend policy, appointments, then they're going to do it. Ends justify the means for these folks, right? Sarah, Glenview.
Hi, I'm Jewish and I am livid. I'm pissed with Jan Schakowsky. She does not represent me. I used to have Brad Schneider as my congressman, but then I was redistricted. I live in Glenview, but I've been lumped in with people in Evanston and Northwestern University. So now I'm stuck with Jan Schakowsky, and she sees the pro-Hamas demonstrations as a free speech issue. Remember in 2018, she was an apologist for Omar and Tlaib and saying that they're not anti-Semitic. Gee, if blacks were excluded, like at these universities like Jews are, she would sing a different tune.
That's true, Sarah. Thanks for the call. But, the folks up there, they like their Calamity Jan and her husband, Creamy Bob.
Ew, why? That's a word that's on the list. The do not say list.
Yeah.
I have some breaking news. I have been purchased for the golf tournament.
Oh, really?
Brooke, here's your competition, okay?
Your dad finally called?
Yeah, Harvey called. No,
Yeah.
Brookdale Corp. It's a business consulting company. The owner is Michael Romano.
Oh,
And
really?
Mr. Romano, I don't know you yet, but
Boy,
thank
I know
you very much.
I know Mike Romano. Mike
you do?
Romano. Yeah, he is a wonderful guy. Obviously, very philanthropic. I mean, boy, I have not seen an act of charity like that in some time. That is very.
Is he a good golfer?
That's a touching moment.
Is
a
he a good
touching
golfer?
moment.
Do you know if he's a golfer?
Yeah, he plays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't start, making a lot of demands on Mike Romano at this point. Is he a good guy? Is he good enough to play? I
very
wouldn't,
gracious that
looking a gift horse a little bit there.
But if you want to sign up, 560theanswer.com/golf, and it's June 19th on a Wednesday, and people have that day off, so let's go. Let's go have some fun and raise money for Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Yeah, we got to get to Tom in Bloomingdale. He's got an event this Sunday that people should know about. This is Tom Meredith, who did all those massive Trump rallies in Illinois back in the day in 2020, and I think dating back to 2016.
I ran into one on the Jane Addams. It was awesome.
Yeah, he did one in the Western Burbs. I know there was one at Bull Valley up in Woodstock. Anyway, Tom, Bloomingdale.
Hi, Dan and Amy. Thanks for having me on. This Sunday is going to be my first one. I'm going to do 3 events this year. It's going to start out at Stratford Square at 9 a.m. in Bloomingdale. We're going to, it's going to be giant. It's going to be a giant parade and then a little gathering afterwards back at Stratford Square. Our biggest one is going to be August 18th, but if you go to www.paradingfortrump.com and you can follow the events and that are taking place this year.
All right. Paradingfortrump.com is the website, and the event kicks off this. The first one is Sunday, Stratford Square. What time does the gathering commence?
9 a.m.
Okay.
We're going to leave there at 10 a.m. and the route should take an hour, but we expect thousands of cars, so it should be a fun time.
Awesome. All right. Very good.
Hey, Dan, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
You know, the events that I have at King County Fairgrounds, you were talking earlier about how weak the Illinois, quote, Republican Party is.
Yeah.
I invited so many of them to get up and talk, say a few words at my events, and I had over 10,000 people at the one event.
Yeah.
Not one of them they were all afraid to go up there because they didn't want to take a picture behind a Trump flag.
Right.
You don't like Trump.
Oh, my
God. What are you doing? It's his party.
Oh.
Yeah. What are they doing indeed? Yeah. Thanks for the call, Tom. Good luck with the parade on Sunday. Yeah, and it shows there's signs of life out there. It shows that there's literally thousands of people that the Republican Party isn't reaching, that Tom Meredith, a volunteer just trying to promote Trump, can reach. It's really an indictment of what is supposed to be an organized party in this state, but it's obviously not.
I want to do something to help Trump, and I just have conversations with people. If I'm, on the bus going to a game, I'll talk to the bus driver, and I helped one, told him where to go to register to vote, and then I said, you tell 7 of your friends and just keep it going. He's like, okay, because he's a black man and he's sick of all of the help for migrants and not his community. I'm like, well, then do something about it. Have you ever voted? No. All right, well, then this is what you're going to do. And I took the phone, I found the address. You could do same-day voting registration. Just have conversations with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you point to that holster that you're sporting. Say, let's not have to make this ugly. Just do what I say. Mm-hmm.
Can I tell my story that we have the wrong
No,
man?
not yet.
Ah, come on, dude.
We're building the suspense. Tom in Blue Island.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Dan, I want to get your thoughts on MTG, if you think she seriously is going to move against Mike Johnson, and if it is the case, could that possibly be done without Trump's at least tacit approval?
Yes and yes. Thanks for the call, Tom. She seems intent on moving. I don't know why. It's not going anywhere. It's not productive. The criticisms of Mike Johnson with respect to the foreign aid bill and the reauthorization of FISA are well-founded, but this is just not the time for that play. And the public pronouncements of Trump in support of Mike Johnson and also criticism of MTG, I think are pretty straightforward. I don't think he's playing it too cute by half. John in Bridgeport.
Hey guys, it's been a little while. You there?
Yeah,
go ahead, we're here.
Oh, okay. Just do me a favor. Try not to lose the target here. I go to the war room every night, crunch the numbers and everything, and if these Democrats, far leftists, goofballs, whatever you want to call them, if they just register 1% of all the illegals they brought in, we're game over. Trump's not winning, and I think this is kind of a sideshow to get the eyes off the target, which is this migration that they're going to try to register to vote come November, and we have to overcome that. In addition, Dan, you're going to be cordially invited to a nice Catholic League golf outing mid to late summer, and I hope you accept. And we'll go over the details. And I think I still owe you from a previous bet.
That's true. Yes. Okay, good.
But that's about all. Amy, I hope everything's going well, and look forward to talking to you guys in the days to come, okay? Thanks.
Thanks, John. Appreciate
Dan's
it.
card is getting filled. Wow.
People petition me
nice.
to play in golf outings as opposed to you having to beg people to play in our company golf outing. Do you see the difference?
Must be nice.
All right.
Oh, no, I'm busy. No,
Oh, you don't want to? You want to talk
No,
about
no.
BLM Brandon now?
Yeah, no, because we got the wrong guy, Dan. Okay, if you know it wasn't him, all right.
But she got me on the counter. Wasn't me. Stomach kissing on the sofa.
Wasn't me.
I even had her in the shower.
Yeah, according to Darius Johnson.
I don't know if those lyrics really work in this instance, but okay. You should listen to the lyrics of that song.
Okay, well, I can't
Yeah.
stop it. Justin, can you stop it for me? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So it wasn't him. According to Darius Johnson, he's a CBS reporter. He was there with Marion Ahern running after the mayor. He reached out to the mayor's office and tweeted out, Johnson's office says, quote, "This isn't Mayor Brandon Johnson in the video. And the person that is being filmed running was trying to catch the car before it departed."
Well, it looked like there was multiple people running.
They were all running, including the mayor. What I mean, just stop lying. It's on video.
Let me first of all, it's the
Yes.
R. Kelly defense. It's very good. It's a nice use of it. And let me be in charge of the musical accompaniment, please.
If you're in the swing, money and everything. If you're in the swing, run away. See chameleon lying there in the sun. All things to everyone. Run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
there was
okay. There you go.
Yeah, that's
Copying
better.
me again.
There was a witness to this running away too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Take a listen to witness's account.
He ran like a little sissy of a homo.
Hey, if Mitch Green says that's what's happened, that's what happened. You remember that? Mitch Green? He got in that fight with Tyson? Well, not much of a fight. This is like from 30 years ago. More.
Can you play it again?
Well, there's another eyewitness account.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Be a little sissy running away from him. What fighter runs away?
Right? So both Jamie Vargas and Mitch Green saw Brandon Johnson running away. So, I mean, that's what I'm going on with their accounts. But Kevin in Libertyville.
Good morning, guys. How are you today?
Good.
Hey, Dan, I wanted to push back on you a little bit with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Your feeling is it's not going to do any good and it's a waste of time. I think anytime that you can pin somebody down and say you either are for the rule of law and you're being a supporter of the conservative movement or you're not, it really helps the electorate come election time. So if you put that out there for a vote and you get a bunch of people that won't support that vote, then we know, okay, they're scumbags and they don't belong in the Republican Party and they should be primaried. Those are good tells. I think more than anything else, that's the reason she should keep pushing this.
Well, thanks for the call, Kevin. I mean, again, he's not beyond reproach. The criticism is warranted. I lodged my own criticism of him the other week when he made the plays that he made. The time to deal with the leadership of the caucus is after the November election. And so there's no urgency about the motion to vacate. You're not going to improve the quality of the leadership of the caucus because you don't have the votes for perhaps a handful of members that would be an improvement, because there's not a lot of them. I mean, again, go back and look at all the votes by Republican members of the caucus on things like, well, just the other day on that horrifically anti-First Amendment, anti-Semitism bill that we discussed, that Kolsak mentioned at the outset of this segment. In addition to the foreign aid deal and him not keeping his promise that border policy changes needed to be attendant to any additional foreign aid. And then, of course, FISA, without the Warren provision, moving that through. Look at how many Republicans supported that. So, you have to, as I've said from the beginning, you have to recognize the composition of the caucus. You have to improve the composition of the caucus in November. And either Mike Johnson gets more stout of heart because the caucus is better, it's more conservative reform, and it puts more pressure on him to hold the line? Or at that point, there's a discussion about who should be the speaker. But let's get to that point. There's a season for everything. Glenn in Orlando.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I just wanted to opine that I hope everybody understands that you can't remain neutral in this election cycle. It's imperative that everybody take a stand. If you remain neutral, you're really supporting the oppressors and the bad people. So get out there and take a stand.
Thanks for the call, Glenn. Kevin in Ogden. The Prime Minister. Yeah. Prime Minister Kevin.
Prime Minister is depressed that I cannot buy Amy Jacobson. But the hippocampus madness of this ferocious, overfed student Democrats now overtakes all the universities. And it's allowing the lesser radio shows to fixate on your King Slutsky. She's no Martin Luther, that King Slutsky. Maybe we're all King Slutskys now, but this misses the point. Untold is the behind-the-scenes secret farce compelling all this campus protest, which I'll now reveal. And not only its existence, but exactly how it unhinges your King Slutskys from sea to shining sea. Face it, normal university indoctrination is a drab slog, an oppressive existence of the mind, not the body. Dan Proft and as many profligates well know that impoverished pre-med wannabes sit. See Everett cooped up in library dungeons, studying their boring lives away. No swashbuckling, selling of drugs, no guns, no car jerking. There's no street cred. These kids have no money. There's no SEX. Yes, campus studying's a big dull bore. So imagine you're Dan Proft, free law, and suddenly, with a wink from professor, you escape that law library basement by barging in to the intoxicating world of protest, served with a side of moral superiority. Consider the world where the only laws are those of projectile motion. The sweet tingle of breaking glass, campus encampment 1 minute, Woodstock the next. No real danger, yet an anything goes thrill up the leg. Especially in your supposedly fairer sex, the Purple Hair Brigade. A wrist perfume is given off in the frontal lobe, and it's a no-brainer. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Ovulation is happening. Ergo, the dirty secret motivating this entire student protest movement is disco's pelvic thrust, the life force itself. Unknowingly, the protesting college co-eds emit the pheromonal willingness to mate, especially with your older macho radicals, the so-called outside agitator, guy sent in by Soros or Hamas.
Yeah.
When you're
All
Colin
right,
Kaepernick,
we got to wrap it up, PM. Wrap it up.
Thank you.
I got it wrapping. When your Colin Kaepernick walks onto the pro-Palestinian college rally, barking out orders and taking a knee, these feminists get so stirred up, it's like the Beatles on Ed Sullivan all day long and into the night. That athlete gets a full ride, and I'm not talking scholarship.
All right, PM. Gee whiz. Chuck, quickly.
Chuck, hurry.
Sorry. 20 seconds.
Thanks to Amy for naming my band Squeegee and Windex. I got 1,500 signatures so far. Thanks to all the WIND listeners that showed up to go see Donald Trump in Waukesha. Big weekend today. Cinco de Mayo up in Lake Delvin. Come to the Phoenix Band Show Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You guys have a great weekend.
All right, thank you. It's 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Hiring slows down, but stocks surge up. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After a report this morning, 175,000 jobs created last month, nearly half from the March hiring.